So protect your everyday. Report suspicious activity to local authorities. If you see something, say something.
To some, a baby's babbling doesn't mean much, but it does. Especially if there's no babbling at all. Little to no babbling by 12 months or later is just one of the possible signs of autism in children. Learn more at autismspeaks.org. Brought to you by Autism Speaks and the Ad Council.
I'm attorney Brian Ritchie. Workers' comp can be tricky, but my law firm will be on top of all the complicated paperwork and sneaky deadlines so that all of your I's are dotted and T's are crossed. If you've been hurt on the job, I'm on top of it. Contact us at ritchielaw.com.
WCMC-FM HD1 Holly Springs.
Kane's cleared out. Will Carrier into the zone. Drop Jankowski. He scores! Mark Jankowski has tied it up here, and the Canes have come back from 2 down. Oh, his first of the postseason, and Mark Jankowski has got this building in a frenzy. Ehlers goes diagonal for Aho. They'll go back and forth with it. Aho along the right wing boards. Back up top, it's Gostisbehere. Send it cross shot. Game over! Seth Jarvis wins it in overtime!
It's the Adam Gold Show. I am Adam Gold. Max Gorn in the chair again today. Hope everybody is ready for the weekend. Welcome to Friday. We made it. We successfully navigated 5 days of a work week. And if it's up to me, take the rest of the day off. Max, you and I have to work for at least the next 3 hours. And I know you've got more than that afterwards. But you only have 2 today.
Yeah. Got the morning off this morning, so just a doubleheader instead of the tripleheader today.
It's not heavy lifting, though.
No, not really. It's not like there's very much going on. Like,
whoa, come on. We can't tell people there's nothing going on.
Well, there is some. We just had to go find it.
Right, but we must every day. It doesn't matter if there's a lot to talk about or not. Every day, without fail, at some point during the show, we got a lot to do. You got to tell people there's a lot to do, even if there isn't. So, Max, we have a lot to talk about today. There's a lot of things, some of which might not appeal to everybody. We might not even get to the latest with Live Golf. We might not. We might not get to the fact that Gianni Infantino might be pushed out at FIFA. That would be a huge, huge global development, by the way. We might not get to those things. But we know we're going to talk Panthers. We know we're going to talk that. We'll tell you why we just played those clips. We're going to talk a little bit more about Alexander Nikishin. We're going to talk about the arrogance of the Big Ten. We're going to talk about how Capitol Hill not only isn't going to, but can't save or protect college sports. They can't. And look, I am not a legal expert. Everybody knows this. But I do have the ability, for critical thinking. And I just don't see how anything that they do in Congress is going to protect college sports from itself. You know who can protect college sports? College sports. Yeah. It really is. It's the ultimate thing. We'll actually let you hear from an athletic director who said this earlier. The reason why we played a couple of Mike Maniscalco Hurricanes highlights, happy birthday, Mike. I have no idea how old he is. I legitimately do not. He's not as old as me. I know that. So if you had to guess, Max, how old would you say Mike was? Or is, not was?
27.
Great guess. Great.
Maybe 28.
Great guess. I was going to go 30, but I think you might be right. So happy, what'd you say, 28th?
Yeah, must be 28. He's got that youthful exuberance. Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised.
Happy 28th birthday to Mike Maniscalco. the voice of the Carolina Hurricanes. We still don't know the name of the Hurricanes network. We don't know what that is going to be called.
Don't know what it's called. Don't know where it's going to be streaming or on whatever cable services.
So, again, we really have no information about anything. But if I could just offer this, I think the plan for the team is for you, the Hurricanes fan, whether you are listening here locally in the Triangle, or if you are joining us in Wilmington or Asheville or Charlotte or wherever the heck you listen, Greenville, wherever the heck you listen. If you're out of market, again, the whole point is they call it pay TV. Cable is pay TV. Satellite is pay TV. They hope that it's exactly as it was a year ago. Exactly. Now, for people, and I used to be a YouTube TV subscriber. YouTube TV did not have a carriage deal with ultimately what became FanDuel Sportsnet. It was at one point Bally's, and it was Fox Sports. It was owned by a different company, but they had different names for it. But also ultimately, it was the RSN, and they did not have a deal. The funny thing is that when I got YouTube TV, it was there, and then like a month later, it disappeared. And if you are one of those people who gets your TV from YouTube or, I don't know, Hulu, wherever, there are several places you can get it. And they did not have a deal with the Hurricanes pay TV network. Then there was an app, a standalone app that you had access to. You had to buy it per month, and I think it was $20 a month. And you could bring that into your house like you would bring any other streamer. If you streamed, if you paid per month for Netflix or Peacock or whatever, you could just get the FanDuel app and put it on your TV, and boom, that's how you watch Hurricanes games. And for those people who are joining us on YouTube, youtube.com, you can search Adam Goldshaw or 99.9 The Fan. Hi, everyone. If you are listening in, I don't know, Bismarck. Sure, there's somebody in Bismarck that's a fan of the show. If you are listening there, watching there, and you are a Hurricanes fan, and by the way, when I was in Denver, Colorado at a soccer event, a team from Minnesota was there, and two of the parents sitting in front of me for a different game were wearing Hurricanes hats.
Oh, yeah.
We're everywhere. Hurricanes fans are everywhere. So if you live elsewhere, then ESPN Plus is your home for all out-of-market NHL games, and that will continue. There will be an over-the-air component. There hopes to be, and we did it. The Hurricanes did it with WRAL TV5 last year. A couple of games around the holidays were available locally over the air. So if you don't have streaming, if you don't have any of that, if you just have an antenna and you're just getting the local channels, then you would have had access to two Hurricanes games. That's fun. But so they hope that it will be identical, at least, to last year and the year before. But it could ultimately be better if YouTube and other ways to bring TV into your home then all of a sudden gets a carriage agreement with whatever this Hurricanes network is going to be called. And it is, there's a central producer in the National Hockey League, but ultimately the Hurricanes are going to control their own broadcast. A real quick thing about it, because I've seen a lot of, I've read a lot about the more centralized production of this coming from the National Hockey League, and they're talking about, telling stories from around the league during the local broadcast. And they're not talking about during the game. Like, they're talking about in between periods. And I know there are people who go, well, why do I care what's going on around the league? Like, let's be honest. And this is not a knock on the way the games have been produced here. Many times like in the second intermission, there is a segment of that intermission which you have either seen before at least once or is something that is so outdated that it really doesn't enhance the broadcast. But that's the way these things have been done. And look, just to let you behind the curtain, because I do the radio portion because there is a simulcast, and by the way, that is sort of bubbling up again. There are people who just realize that their favorite team is going to a TV radio simulcast, and they're mad because TV and radio are two different entities. I understand, but ultimately, the numbers on radio have done nothing but go up. So
I mean, we've had the simulcast for however long now, and honestly, when I'm listening in the car and I'm away from my TV, like I really don't notice that much of a detraction. Like I'm able to follow along just fine, and maybe it's because like Mike and Tripp and everyone in the crew there during the actual gameplay is like maybe they're a little more cognizant that it's a simulcast and they don't do things that would kind of be more TV only. And then obviously, you're doing intermissions and pregame and postgame and all the intermission interviews and stuff. But I haven't really noticed too much of a detraction with it being a simulcast in the time that we've had it.
It's a PR problem. It's not really an execution problem, right? That's the real issue for people, is that once we hated to lose Chuck Hayton. Hated it. Chuck hated it. Honestly, John Forsland, who was the TV voice at the time, he hated to lose Chuck Hayton. But the realities of the business now are that most teams, not all teams, by the way, there's not every team that does a simulcast. It's just becoming more and more prevalent. A lot of teams are recognizing that, all right, we're kind of losing money on radio, and we have to make a choice. Do we want to continue to lose money on radio? Even though I would say that the radio broadcast, the coverage of it on radio and TV are as much about relating to your fans as anything else. To me, it should be a line item that, if we could just break even, we'd be happy. Like, don't even necessarily have to turn a profit, but because all of these ownership groups are trying to turn a profit, trying to make money. And by the way, this is going to be part of the conversation, not necessarily about Hurricanes and radio going forward. We're going to bring it up in a context of Major League Baseball and a pending labor problem later on. But because most of these owners are trying to turn a profit everywhere they can, they are cutting out things that lose them money. Even if there is a benefit, not to losing money, but a benefit to having it, and then just hiding those losses in amongst all of the profits for the team. I would suggest that's the better way to go, because fan service it's almost impossible to put a dollar figure on the stuff that your fans care about but won't miss, like radio. If you ask people, they miss Chuck Hayton, right? They miss him. But ultimately, their enjoyment of the team isn't any less. That has not been damaged. And when that doesn't hurt the team can go, yep, we made the right decision. Like if Tom Dundon is looking at it as a bottom line discussion, and we could say it about Chuck Hayton's job being covered by first John Forsland and then Mike Maniscalco. And this is no disrespect to the birthday boy, the 28-year-old Mike Maniscalco. But when John Forsland left, that was an enormous PR hit. Enormous PR hit because of John's stature in the industry, and I believe John is the best across all platforms doing hockey play-by-play. And we still get to see him. We got to hear him during the Eastern Conference Finals and the Stanley Cup Final, if you were somewhere else and listening to national radio. We get to see him on TNT throughout the course of the season. He'll do more games for TNT this year. But when John didn't come back to do Hurricanes games and Mike took over, that was an enormous PR hit. And then the following year and the subsequent years, as more and more people are interested in Hurricanes hockey and the television ratings are going up, Tom Dundon goes, see, didn't matter. And it has nothing to do with how good this person is, how good this person is.
It's honestly, it depends on if the team is good.
The team.
It's the same with attendance. Like then in 2015, when they were at the bottom of the league and attendances were at 10,000 people a game, that's just going to happen. That happens in any market where a team is struggling for an extended period of time, unless it's like a real heritage. Like if the Montreal Canadiens somehow went 10 years being around the bottom of the league, the support would probably still stick around somewhat.
They did.
But
they kind of. What about the Detroit Red Wings?
Yeah, seriously, so bad.
The Red Wings have been hockey royalty for ever.
Yeah, they made the playoffs for 20 something years in a row.
When was the last time?
When I was growing up, that was one of the elite franchises
hockey
in the league.
Town.
And now they haven't been to the playoffs in a decade.
I think they have the longest streak, don't they, in the NHL? I believe they have the longest streak in the NHL of missing the playoffs.
Yeah, since Buffalo made it this year.
So, yeah, and they just promoted actually, no, I was fired, or he stepped down, but he was going to be fired. A franchise legend, Steve Yzerman, who did a good job in Tampa, went to Detroit, and hasn't been able to turn that franchise around.
They were fourth in attendance this past year, though.
Right.
Over 19,000 a game.
There are certain things that are just, they're not going to change. People are going to go to Red Wings games. The Hurricanes' attendance suffered. Anyway, my larger point, I don't know how we got off on that tangent, except this is what I do. We are going to talk a little bit about the Hurricanes here, is that it just started with a birthday to Mike Maniscalco. It morphed into a broadcasting discussion, but it is true. We got mad when Chuck left, and today, most of us, if not all of us, as we don't think about those things. We just think about the team. Are they good? Yes. Do I love watching them? Are they fun to watch? Yes. Yes. Oh, by the way, they just won a Stanley Cup. Jackson Blake took the cup out on a boat. He and his buddies were partying on the back of a boat, and there he is. All right, I don't know what the whole point was there, but hi, Friday, Adam, Max is here. Let's start.
Let's get it started. Let's get it started in here. Let's get it started. Let's get it started.
All right.
In here.
Yesterday at over in Chapel Hill, Lee Roberts, the chancellor of the university, was among. We had Bill Belichick for the first time. Lee Roberts spoke, it was separate from football, but obviously it came up. And Roberts, who is the chancellor of the university, and one of the reasons why Bill Belichick is the head coach, had a lot of things to say, including this in the wake of the Mike Lombardi investigation.
I'm disappointed that we're talking about this. We should be focusing on our student athletes and on their success on the field and on all of the wonderful things that happen at this university every day, providing opportunities for students from every nook and cranny of North Carolina. And so it's distressing to me and everyone else in the administration entrusted with leadership at this remarkable university that this is something that we have to spend time on.
All right, here's my read on this, and I was texting back and forth with a friend who said that Roberts embarrassed himself or something to that effect yesterday. And maybe I'm naive and I haven't listened to the entirety of Lee Roberts' comments from yesterday, but I've seen quotes and obviously I've listened to clips. My read on Lee Roberts, the chancellor at UNC, is that the circus not only surrounding the football program since they started last season. Actually, it was before they started last season. But let's just say over the last 18 months, the circus has been so bad, so distracting, and the football wasn't any good either, that it is taking away from really what it was supposed to do. And maybe it will never do that. Maybe the decision that he signed off on, but he was not the architect of. Maybe it was just the wrong decision. I say maybe. It was obviously the wrong decision. But he had to go along with it, otherwise it wouldn't have happened. And he was convinced by other people, John Pryor, the lead guy there, as well as a lot of other money that were coming in because of Bill Belichick, that this was the way to go. We don't have to litigate that anymore. My read was that Lee Roberts is embarrassed by how this has played out, and I think he's like all of us. That we shouldn't be having these conversations. We should have done this better. Even with the people that were hired, it should have all been better. And to me, it's I said it yesterday, it's not like CYA, but I think to a large extent, it's like, man, I'm mad too. Just like all of you people are mad, I'm mad as well. And I totally understand the mindset because this simply has not gone well. All North Carolina could do is hopefully have a better season. I don't know how they're going to do that. We will find out starting in less than a month when they play TCU. All right, the Big Ten had their media day, or has had their media days. I don't know if it's still going on. I'm not in Chicago with the Big Ten. We'll talk to Chip Patterson about it next week. And Curt Cignetti, Indiana's coach, had the mic yesterday, and if you know anything about Curt Cignetti, he is all about Curt Cignetti. He loves him some him. But he also is carrying the flag for the Big Ten, and he claims that is the top dog.
The Big Ten is the best league in football, and a lot of really good football teams. It's hard to win on the road. Very physical football teams, very well coached. It definitely prepares you for the playoffs. There's no doubt about it. The numbers speak for themselves. I mean, we don't run a hype machine up here in the Midwest. We believe everything's earned, not given. And when we fall short, we say we fell short. We don't cry a river, whine, and complain. All right? And that's why we're the best.
Smith Barney. They make money the old-fashioned way. They earn it.
I love the fact that Max is an old soul. So that's a great commercial. I don't even know what John Houseman did, but that was John Houseman. Got that commercial, was always sat with me. They don't run a hype machine in the Big Ten, but miss me with we earn everything we get, because I am old enough to remember the debate over a potential 2018 playoff last year in which the Big Ten was arguing for 7 automatic berths. 7. Even when we go to 16, the Big Ten was arguing that they deserve 4 spots automatically. Remember those debates? I didn't get them. Like, you should get what you deserve. We shouldn't be slotting, conferences and certain teams in. Look, my opinion, I could be wrong. Top to bottom, I think the SEC has better football. Now, they might not have better teams at the top. Clearly, Indiana and Ohio State and Michigan have been the best 3 teams in college football the last 3 years. Ohio State and Indiana won the first 2 12-team playoffs. Michigan won the last 4. And it might be again. Oregon might be the best team this year. I don't know. Could be Ohio State again. For Southern Cal. Lincoln Riley's still the coach. Yeah. But I think top to bottom, week in, week out, there are some pushovers in the SEC, but week in and week out, you got a chance to really get beat. That ain't the same in the Big Ten. I am sorry about that. It is not the same in the Big Ten. Maryland ain't beating you. Rutgers ain't beating you. Northwestern ain't beating you. It's, by the way, if you see Northwestern's new stadium, place rocks. That is going to be a very popular spot for things not named Northwestern football. That's going to be a popular spot for a lot of other things. I think the top to bottom, the SEC is the best league. But I do think that it's worth pointing out that the current system in college football, where there's freedom of movement and there's money flowing everywhere, which I understand the administrators hope to stop, but right now they're not. That has created a level or more level playing field. It has spread talent out, and it has made the perceived advantages of an Alabama or a Texas or an Ohio State, it has made their advantages somewhat less because it's all about, can I get on the field, can I make money? Players are less willing to sit around and wait 2 years to get on the field. If they're talented enough, they're going to go somewhere else. And that's okay. That's all right. It has made the sport better. I wonder if there is a lesson to be learned. Anyway, let's take a break here. When we come back, Joe Person from The Athletic. I read yesterday that Bryce Young had a practice that was maybe the greatest we have ever seen in Panthers history. I'm being hyperbolic for a reason, but apparently Bryce Young is killing it so far in training camp. We'll talk to Joe Person about the Panthers quarterback and more next.
His Zamboni is bigger than yours. The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Adam.
I'm Adam Gold, and I'm there.
Tim.
I'm Tim Donnelly, and I'm there.
Dennis.
I'm Dennis Cox, and I'm there.
Victoria.
I'm Victoria Vodnecker, and I'm there.
Paul.
I'm Paul Eihander, and I'm there too.
You'll find them all here on the brand new 99.9 The Fan app. To work, to school, the beach, the mountains, the arena, take The Fan with you wherever you go. Available for Apple iPhone and Android phones. Download the 99.9 The Fan app today.
We've made it. It's a Friday, so you know what that means. It's time to break the bike out. I'm Victoria Vodnecker here from 99.9 The Fan for Law Tigers, and even if it is crazy hot outside, taking the motorcycle out for a weekend ride always helps to overlook that melting feeling and just forget about all the other life stressors for a while. I know I personally love going to the mountains regardless of the season, but one thing I hate seeing is someone getting into a wreck on their bike. And if you ever find yourself in this situation, please make sure to call my friends at Law Tigers first before calling your insurance company. At Law Tigers, they're one of us that get it. They are riders too, and they know the value of your bike, your gear, the investment that you've made, and what it's like to go through an accident. Case evaluations are always free, and you're not going to pay a dime until your case is settled. Call 1-800-LAW-TIGERS, North Carolina's motorcycle lawyers. Law Tigers is a network of independent law firms who are members of the American Association of Motorcycle Injury Lawyers. Law Tigers is not a law firm.
I'm glad you agreed to this date, Mr. First Tuesday.
Oh, me too, but I have to admit something. I've never been on a first date.
But you are a date, and first is in your name.
Yeah, I guess I've just been married to my work, you know? Spreading the news about new scratch-offs coming out every first Tuesday.
New scratch-offs release every first Tuesday?
Wait, you don't know about new scratch-off tickets that come out the Okay. Well, okay. You got me.
Must be 18 to play. Problem Gambling Helpline, 877-718-5543.
You know the feeling. Wake up, get ready, get the kids, the list goes on. But what if what you drive could make your life a little less complicated? With convenient home charging, a quieter ride, and an average range of more than 250 miles, EVs are one step toward a cleaner future, so you can focus on what really matters. Give yourself more time to recharge. EVs are for everyone. Sponsored by the NC Clean Energy Technology Center and the North Carolina Association of Broadcasters in cooperation with this station.
Hi friends, this is Mark Pons from Chapel Hill Tire. There's nothing quite like a North Carolina summer, unless of course your air conditioning decides to stop working. If your AC isn't blowing cold, is making strange noises, or just isn't keeping up with the heat, now's the time to have it checked. This month, take advantage of our summer AC special, save $40, and let our ASC certified technicians make sure you're ready for the hottest days of the year. Schedule your appointment today at chapelhilltire.com and drive happy.
I'm Galen, co-founder of Brooklyn SolarWorks. With my Chase Inc. Business Premier Card, I get unlimited 2.5% cash back on purchases of $5,000 or more. So everything we buy to run our solar business gives us cash back that we put back into the neighborhood, donating solar panels to community gardens.
Chase Inc. Cashback built for every business. Find the right card at chase.com/inc. Real business owner compensated for their participation. Cards issued by J.P. Morgan Chase Bank and a member FDIC, subject to credit approval. Terms apply.
Out here, you know the drill. Animals are hungry, dogs are getting muddy, and you just noticed you're low on feed. Stocking up at Tractor Supply is easy on your wallet with our unbeatable prices on select shavings, retriever dog food, and Producer's Pride animal and poultry feed. From backyards to barnyards, we've got everything to keep your pets, animals, and livestock well fed and comfortable with low prices all summer. At Tractor Supply.
One Adam Gold. One Adam Gold.
Turtle cake? Like, what do we... What?
Isn't that an ice cream?
What? Where's the confetti cake? Because, hello, confetti cake, delicious. With the little, I don't even know if it's real, but the little dots in the icing, like...
None of these are real.
What kind of fake thing that is, but it's delicious. It's my childhood. Like, that wasn't in the top 10. His opinion's invalid to me.
The Adam Gold Show.
It's the Adam Gold Show. I am Adam Gold. Max on the ones and twos. Max Gorin, by the way, on the ones and twos. All right, let's get to Joe Person from The Athletic. Also, I believe Wednesday nights, if it's not every Wednesday night, it's certainly some Wednesday nights. Maybe it's a different night. Panthers Collective. You can watch Joe talk about the Carolina Panthers, covers the Panthers for The Athletic. He wins awards for those types of things, and he joins us on the Adam Gold Show. Sir, I know there's been some technical things here. If it doesn't go away, I'll let you go, and we can and we'll talk another time. But let me ask you this, because I've read a lot of things about how good Bryce Young looks. So you're the expert. How has Bryce Young looked to you during the first week of training camp?
Really good. He has been on point, and this is while overseeing an offense that's missing its two starting offensive tackles from the last four seasons, and just had their rookie receiver Chris Brazzell go down with a season-ending knee injury. So, nevertheless, Wednesday's practice. Sorry, the days are running together. That was really that was sort of the capper on the first 7 or 8 days of camp, if you will, for Bryce. I mean, he'd had other good days, but Wednesday was really the cherry on top, and as much as it can be when we're talking about a practice in the end of July. But there are reasons to be excited. He hit Teterow and McMillan a couple times, but the play I really like seeing, and it happened to unfold right in front of me, was a just perfectly feathered touch pass along the sidelines to tight end Jatavion Sanders. And he did this despite Trayvon Merrick draped all over Sanders. So it just had to be in a perfect spot, and it was. And Bryce had a bunch of throws that day. So really encouraging beginning for Bryce as he goes into what begins to enter a very important season for him in a contract year, and for this franchise trying to build on the momentum that they captured last year, and in recapturing this city's and this region's the fan base and all of that went with it.
Joe Person from The Athletic is joining us here on the Adam Gold Show. Obviously, year one was a disaster on many, many fronts, and he bore the brunt of that. Year two started poorly. Even last year, there were some hiccups early. But what do you attribute this development? Is it simply time, or is the coaching and the roster that much better, which is allowing Bryce to be more comfortable and be better?
Yeah, I think it's all those things, right? I mean, it is continuity. And last year at this time, I think I know Jalen Coker opened the season on IR with a hamstring, and I don't think he was practicing. So there's one guy who's been around. Teteroa McMillan was in his first season. So the tight ends are all the same tight ends. Sanders, whom I mentioned, and Tommy Tremble, Mitch Evans in his second season. It's just I think all of those things, and even though there has been a change in play caller, it's really not much of a change. Brad Idzik was Dave Canales', it still is, right-hand man. The two were together in Seattle, Tampa, now Charlotte. And Bryce likes Brad Idzik, by the way. And you mentioned that 2023 starting poorly when Canales benched him, obviously. I don't know that Bryce and Canales ever they made reparations to that relationship, but I think this Idzik change is going to be good for Bryce, kind of on a day-to-day level, and dealing with him as the play caller. So all of that, I think, has just been good for Bryce Young, who had so much of change and things he had to deal with early in his career.
My own feeling on this is that it was apparent to me that Frank Reich was not on board with Bryce. That was not his first choice. He would have preferred C.J. Stroud. And my read on Dave Canales and Bryce Young initially was that Dave would have been very happy to move on. And had Andy Dalton not been in the car accident, and which necessitated going back to Bryce Young, had that not happened, I'm not sure we would have seen Bryce Young play again that season. I thought they would have ridden it out with Andy Dalton as the quarterback. No, not Andy Dalton. Andy Dalton. I don't know.
Yeah,
I was thinking about Sam Darnold for a second. But I think they would have ridden it out with Andy Dalton and then moved on from there. And that maybe Bryce would have been given year 3, but I could have seen the organization moving on, because I didn't believe Dave Canales believed in Bryce, but I think there was something toward the end of year 2 that kind of turned Dave Canales, and that, all right, maybe there's something here. And we obviously saw a lot more in year 3. My read on Bryce is that now we need to see more in the first halves of games. We've seen a lot of good in fourth quarters and final drives and key situations, but we haven't seen Bryce go out and sling it around in the first half. I'm not saying you have to throw it 40 times in the first half, but we have not seen Bryce go out and impact the games early like he should be able to do, like the best quarterbacks do.
Yeah, listen, the Dalton stuff's fascinating, and we'll never know, right? But I don't think you're super off base on that. But as for, I love that it's Bryce is the kind of guy you want to see do well. I mean, he's been a good ambassador for this football program and all that. He's a smart guy. He's engaging. But it doesn't matter, right? And this has been a terrific start. But let's temper it a little bit, because you're right. He has to be more consistent. We have seen the splashes and the flashes, like the 500-yard game or whatever it was in Atlanta. I mean, man, if only they played the Falcons more than twice a year. But no, we've seen it, and he's clutch, and he seems to be at his best when they're running hurry up, and they've got to have it type of situation. Yep. But we got to see it all the time. No one's going to have it all the time, but most of the time, right? Like not just where it's like, oh, okay, this is why they drafted him first overall. So, and maybe this is the year, for the Panthers that would be good. I mean, they gave they traded all those picks to Chicago. You want to be right. And by the way, Dan Morgan was part of that decision. Yes. I know Scott Fitter was the GM, but Dan was the assistant GM, and he was certainly on board. And so we'll see. I mean, we're not going to see necessarily in August in the 4 preseason games, nor should we.
Right.
But it's going to be fascinating to watch and see if Bryce can take that next step and get a $50 million a year type contract, because that's what's next. Like when you're going to extend the first overall pick, you're not getting them at a team discount. Right. I mean, unless there's some extenuating circumstances, they're going to want market price, and that ain't cheap, my friend.
No doubt about it. And I think I saw where the franchise tag on a quarterback is like $48 million. So, and a contract extension for Bryce Young will definitely push that number higher. All right, final area for Joe Person, then I'll let you go. I don't want to steer you. Offensive line for me, based on injuries, based on depth right now, is an issue. But is there another area of the team that you look at, if it's not offensive line, that you are a little concerned with, even though we're just 1 week into training camp?
I would just say that they are putting a lot of eggs in the Jonathan Brooks basket at running back behind Chuba Hubbard. And again, not to be all Pollyanna-ish, but Brooks is a guy you want to see come back. Like the guy's, 2 ACLs, and he's back, and he's looking good, and he's running well. But there's not a lot behind him, is the point I'm making.
Right.
And God forbid if that twice repaired knee does not hold up, then you're looking at Trevor Etienne, who really, I think, in their druthers are to have him just be the return specialist only.
Right.
And then A.J. Dillon, they signed this offseason, who's a big kind of power blocking back who the first week of camp I've really only seen play special teams. So, and listen, it was a second-round pick they invested in Brooks. He had a terrific career at Texas until he got hurt. And, because Chuba, the last couple of years, he hasn't made it through, 17-game season unscathed. Hard to at that position. You're right. And they had such a great balance last year, the 1-2 punch with Rico Dowdle and Chuba. So, I think the early, like Bryce, the early returns on Jonathan Brooks have been very encouraging, but there's not a whole lot behind him if things were to go sideways.
Joe Person from The Athletic, at Joseph Person on Twitter. Sir, thank you very much for your time. I know FanFest is tonight, so I hope everybody asks for your autograph.
Oh, geez, come on, man! I'm just hoping I can get in there and out with. This is Friday rush hour traffic.
Yeah.
We'll be trying to park down near the stadium.
Good luck. Good luck with that. I'll talk
have
to
a
you
good
soon.
weekend, buddy.
You too. I'll talk to you soon. Joe Person from The Athletic here on the Adam Gold Show. I'm still concerned about offensive line, by the way. But because I know the offensive line was so, remember year one? We had a lot of issues in year one.
That was a lost season.
Totally lost season. They had terrible skill position players. I would argue the worst wide receiver, tight end. I mean, you could throw running back in there too, but worst wide receiver, tight end combination.
It's like DJ Chark and Laviska Shenault.
For a rookie quarterback.
No offensive line.
With a bad offensive line and a coaching staff that was, by design, a lot of cooks, but, all with a different idea. It could not have been dreamt up more poorly and executed equally well. But year two, it started to get a little bit better after the initial part of the season. But they did rebuild the offensive line, and this is the third year of that rebuild, and I'm glad and I said before the draft, we were all the lead up to the draft, I said the same thing basically every time. If you couldn't get the tight end, and I don't even remember the tight end's name, I'll be perfectly honest, I don't even remember who he is, but if you couldn't get the tight end, who was drafted, I believe, before the Panthers picked at 19, I want the best tackle on the board. They took Monroe Freeling. My view of the Panthers' offensive line is that Ike Ekwonu, not even healthy, not a top, certainly not a top half of the league left tackle. And that's probably, I mean, we could go further than that. I love the fact that they brought in Walker, the tackle from the Packers. 1-year deal, though, right? Taylor Moton, even though he's still good, we all know he's on the downside. He doesn't have a whole lot left in his career. For my money, it was get your left tackle of the future. Hopefully, at some point, if Ekwonu can come back, and now we don't know, move him to the right side where he probably would profile better as a mauling run blocker. And you're creating more depth, but ultimately they have problems inside now too, because both Lewis and Hunter hurt. They have some depth, but not great depth. So I'm worried about the offensive line, and I don't think you can be truly really good unless your offensive line is excellent. And her last couple of years, the Panthers' offensive line have been pretty good. All right, we have one-timers on the other side. You can ask any question you like. Just go to YouTube, Adam Gold Show, or 99.9 The Fan. There's a chat box on the right-hand side. You can type it in there. And Max has some stuff for me anyway. So we will do Q's and A's next.
Asheville to Wilmington, Boone to Durham, The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
It's the first day of the first grade, and she found a new best friend. It's a laid-back Sunday afternoon you wish would never end.
The homemade taste of Bluebell and good friends gathered round. The good old days are being made right now.
Bluebell Chocolate Lava Cake is a mountainous eruption of flavor. Classic vanilla ice cream loaded with rich chocolate cake pieces, rivers of chocolate sundae sauce, chunks of dark chocolate, and a deep fudge swirl. Prepare yourself for an earth-shaking experience.
The good old days are being made right now.
The good old days are being made right now.
Look for Bluebell ice cream at your local grocer and pick up your favorite flavor today.
As the health director in Haywood County and a nurse here in North Carolina, I can tell you that the 988 Suicide and Crisis Lifeline saves lives.
No matter your struggle, you are not alone. The 988 Suicide and Crisis Lifeline is free, private, and always available.
988 Lifeline counselors are ready 24/7 to speak with you, help you cope, and get you connected to the support that is right for you.
988, the National Suicide and Crisis Lifeline.
Call, text, or chat 988 24/7. Brought to you by the North Carolina Department of Health and Human Services.
Turning 65 soon? Navigating Medicare can be overwhelming and confusing, but you're not alone. The NC Department of Insurance SHIP program can help. SHIP counselors can help you understand Medicare benefits to make your best choices. Visit ncship.com or call toll-free at 855-408-1212. SHIP provides free, unbiased help in all 100 counties.
Project supported by grants from the Administration for Community Living. Contents do not necessarily represent official views of, nor an endorsement by ACL, HHS, or the U.S. government.
Did you know? Atlantic hurricane season runs through November. From gathering necessary supplies to planning an evacuation route, now is the time to make sure you and your family are prepared. And if a storm damages our electric system, local public power providers are ready to respond and restore power quickly and safely. As a public power customer, you benefit from having an electricity provider that restores power faster than other providers do. Visit electricities.com for storm preparation tips and resources.
The North Carolina Healthcare Association invites you to listen to this month's podcast, Conversations on the State of Healthcare. We're delving into a new NCAA report titled More Than Medicine, the Economic Impact of North Carolina Hospitals. My guest is Josh Dobson, President and CEO of the North Carolina Healthcare Association.
Hospitals generated about $52 billion in economic impact last year, roughly 6% of the entire state's gross domestic product. They spent around $44 billion on operations and workforce expenses. And that spending does ripple outward into local economies. Hospitals are often among the largest employers in a region, especially rural communities. In fact, they're among the top 10 employers in 95 of North Carolina's 100 counties.
You can learn more and join our latest conversations on the state of healthcare wherever you listen to your favorite podcast. And find out more by visiting nchealthcare.org.
Your child's doctor shares your goals, a healthy future for your child. Doctors recommend vaccines throughout childhood because they protect what matters most: your child's future from preventable disease and serious illness. Discuss any questions you have and check that your child is up to date and talk about any concerns. You're right to have questions. Get real answers. Start a conversation with your doctor today. Visit vaccinesforkids.nc.gov. Paid for by NCDHHS.
This is Adam Gold.
The American Cornhole League. I don't know if you can wager on it. Let me go to FanDuel and find out if you can wager on it.
I think I read you can get a scholarship. Kids in high school can actually get scholarships for cornholing. Who knows? I don't know what the technical term is.
I'm just not going to say anything.
The Adam Gold Show.
It's the Adam Gold Show. I'm Adam Gold. Max Gorin in the producer's chair. Elliot Johnson, big league legend. Max Scherzer couldn't get him out. Max, no chance. Max Scherzer quaked in his boots when Elliot Johnson came to the plate. I think 2 for 3 in his career against him.
It's pretty good.
Oh, yeah. Max is going to the Hall of Fame.
Any RBIs?
Yeah, triple, yeah. I think so. Yeah. Oh,
extra
yeah.
bases.
Oh, yeah. Oh, his OPS, career OPS against Max Scherzer is just awesome. All right, we got a lot of things to do. We told you this before the show, or at the very beginning of the show, that you always pretend that there's a lot. But there is. We haven't even gotten to Alexander Nikishin yet. We haven't really gotten to college football yet. We got a ton of stuff. One-timers.
All righty. It's time for one-timers. So we were just talking with Joe Person in the last segment about the Panthers training camp and the various shuffling of deck chairs in terms of position groups. And he mentioned Jonathan Brooks. And I want to know if you think Jonathan Brooks will have a shot to take the top running back role for the Panthers by the end of the season.
I'm going to respond to that with a question for you, Max. Didn't Rico Dowdle take the top spot last year at one point?
That he did.
So, yes, the same will happen. That doesn't mean that...
Assuming his ACL holds up.
Right. Super talented guy. I mean, you take a kid, trade back up into the second round to get a guy coming off an ACL injury. Obviously, the organization feels like he's got a super amount of talent. So, yes, I think there's a good chance.
While we're talking about Panthers and various skill positions, I also wanted to ask, who do you think will be the wide receiver 3 for the Panthers now with Chris Brazzell out for the season due to LCL surgery?
All right, I am not a fan, and I am not given to week 1 hype. But every single person that I trust says that Xavier Legette looks the part. So I will say that Jalen Coker will be wide receiver 3, and that Legette might just maybe he gets it.
Wow, climbing the ladder all the way up from was maybe going to be replaced to now going to be the second wide receiver on the depth chart.
So there you go. There's a wrinkle, but remains to be seen.
All right, we'll shift gears to baseball with the trade deadline coming up, and I know you'll discuss this with Elliot Johnson here in the next hour. But where do you think Tariq Skubal will be playing after the trade deadline on Monday night?
As much as it pains me, I believe the answer is the Bronx. As much as it pains me.
You think I was going to say it's probably going to be the Dodgers, which is also equally kind of... they just, on ESPN, they were showing the betting odds, and the Dodgers have the shortest odds to acquire him.
All right. And if that's the case, it will start an uproar from people. Skubal needs a contract going into next year. The Dodgers are maybe likely to give him that contract anyway. But I will point this out to people. You can hate on the Dodgers all you want, but they invest their money back into their team. And many other teams could do the same thing and choose not to. So, hate all you want. The Dodgers are run very, very well. And yes, they have deep pockets, but they're run well.
All right, last one, and it's the last day of July as we are about to turn over to August. And Alexander Nikishin still does not have a contract. How is the Alexander Nikishin situation going to end, Adam?
Oh, I like a prediction. It is going to end with a bridge contract with the Hurricanes, whatever that looks like, 2 years. We have experience with that with Martin Necas. But ultimately, the end may be a trade in year one. I don't know. But we'll start the next hour with a little bit of conversation about Nikishin and his situation and the player, because I think that really informs us going forward.
Because your fantasy football team needs all the help it can get, the Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Hey, Carolina Panthers fans, it's Dennis Cox from 99.9 The Fan. For all the inside information on your team, join me and my co-host, WRAL TV's Chris Lee, for our podcast, Panthers Playbook, presented by Wake Orthopedics. In every episode, we'll keep you up to date on your Panthers, and we'll do it with access only we can provide. Locker room insight, exclusive interviews, and in-depth looks from training camp as the regular season approaches. Follow and subscribe to Panthers Playbook wherever you discover your favorite podcasts or watch on YouTube.
Yeah, can you pass me a Baja?
A what?
Mountain Dew Baja Blast. Try it. It's tropical at first, then the lime flavor hits.
Oh, okay. That's crisp. Tastes like vacation.
Right?
Mm-hmm. And it's mine now.
Have a Baja Blast.
Right now at Circle K, buy a 20-ounce Mountain Dew and get another for just $1. Do the Dew at Circle K today.
It's bow time. Ordering Bojangles Bow Bites is the easiest choice you'll make today. The bite-sized hand-breaded chicken is fried to crispy perfection, making it perfect for sharing, snacking, or when you're on the go. Just don't call it a nugget. The only hard part is choosing from our 6 dipping sauces. We've got a sauce for every kind of craving, from our creamy house-made ranch to our sweet and spicy peach honey pepper sauce. It all depends on what kind of mood you're in. Head to your nearest Bojangles today and discover the dippable, shareable, and craveable Bow Bites. It's bow time.
There's no time like bow time. Time to head on over to Bojangles to try Bojangles' new Bow Bites. Bite-sized, hand-breaded chicken fried to crispy perfection. On the go, they're perfect for snacking or sharing. Dipped in your favorite sauce like creamy house-made ranch or peach honey pepper, they're the perfect way to satisfy your craving for flavor and value. Try Bojangles' new Bow Bites. It's an easy choice to make when it's bow time.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along. Which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. It finds them for you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
In World War I, American fighter pilots covering a plane's rear position coined the phrase, "I've got your six," to mean I've got your back. Through their service, veterans have our backs. Now we should have theirs. Learn more at gotyoursix.org using the number 6.
What do parents think of back to school at Staples, where supplies start at just 25 cents?
Staples has the latest laptops with up to 40% savings.
I may hug the cashier.
So embarrassing.
It's the most wonderful time of the year.
It's a wonderful time at Staples with up to 40% off select tech. Staples.
That was easy.
Visit Staples today or shop online and in the app. Ends 9/12. Exclusions apply.
I'm attorney Brian Ritchie. Getting hurt in a car wreck comes with all kinds of stress and frustration. But when you call me, I'll be on top of all of it. So all you need to worry about is getting better. If you've been injured in a car wreck, I'm on top of it. Contact us at ritchielaw.com.
Broadcasting live from the Eagle Leasing Storage Studio. WCMC HD1 Holly Springs. 99.9 The Fan. The Canes light the lamp here.
20 seconds to go. 8 years ago, when Rod Brindamore was hired to be the head coach of the Carolina Hurricanes, he said the mission was to be the best team in the NHL. 5 seconds away. And the Carolina Hurricanes are the best team in the NHL. They won the 2026 Stanley Cup. It's yours, Carolina, and it's coming back to North Carolina. The Stanley Cup. We got a passenger on the plane tomorrow, and the Hurricanes are world champions.
Hey, it's Adam Gold. This is the Adam Gold Show. Max Gorham producing the program today. You made it to the weekend. Congratulations. We're on YouTube. Congratulations again. A hearty hello to those of you who are watching on YouTube. You can go to YouTube, search Adam Gold Show or 99.9 The Fan. Want to see funny expressions? You want to see me exasperated? I don't know. I don't get exasperated very often. Later on, Elliot Johnson, big league legend. He will join us. Maybe not as much trade deadline speculation, some. But also, there is a lot of fear-mongering going on across Major League Baseball's internets. It's not really a thing, but in that, oh man, there are owners out there that are ready to shut it down, miss an entire season next year. The NHL missed an entire season. The year before the Hurricanes won the Stanley Cup in 2006. The prior season, gone. The National Hockey League did not play a game. Major League Baseball lost the World Series in 1994. The work stoppage in August of that year never came back. They did not show up again until they missed, I believe, the beginning of the next season. It started late because they did not settle their labor dispute until well into the spring training portion of March. So it didn't. I don't believe it started on time. Anyway, but they lost the World Series in '94, and you could make the argument that it cost the city of Montreal their franchise because the Expos had not won. Actually, they technically had never made the playoffs, the Expos. But in one of the work stoppage altered seasons, that was at 81, when they missed a good chunk of the season in the middle, the Expos were one of those teams that either won the first half or won the second half and played in what we were already into divisional rounds, East versus West before you got to the World Series, but we actually had 2 series before we got to the National League Championship Series and American League Championship Series, and the Expos played in that. I think they lost to the Dodgers. Dodgers ended up winning that World Series in the strike-shortened year. Funny thing about that year, and I don't know why you care, but I do, the Cincinnati Reds had the best record in the National League and missed the playoffs. Look it up. They finished second in the West in the first half and second half, had the best overall record in the West, but missed the playoffs. Anyway, the things you remember as a kid. So we're going to talk about a pending work stoppage with baseball with Elliot Johnson. And it all centers around one of the all-time, I'm not giving away my position, you all know it, one of the all-time frauds put on sports and sports fans is that salary caps level the playing field. They make it so no matter where you are, you can win. Examples, the Kansas City Chiefs. It's a small market. They've been the dominant NFL franchise. That's the salary cap. Or work with me on this, they simply have the right quarterback. Because what Mahomes did is just what Brady did in Boston. And when you have the right quarterback, Joe Montana in San Francisco, unless you are run poorly, you have a great chance to be great. So in the National Football League, we can pretend it's about salary cap, and I'm going to bring data to the equation a little bit later on, in that it's not really a salary cap, it's an accounting trick. It's more about the quarterback. Wait, but then this was brought up yesterday when we talked to John Oran. The San Antonio Spurs can win. Yeah, they can win when they luck out and win the lottery. They got Victor Wembanyama. Just like they got Tim Duncan. Just like they got David Robinson. No franchise in all of sports has been more fortunate with a ping pong ball than the San Antonio Spurs. They hit the jackpot 3 times. Imagine winning the lottery. I'm not talking about a sports lottery. Imagine winning Powerball 3 times. You're that person. That's what the Spurs are. Because, again, the NBA, it's smoke and mirrors, their salary cap. And really, the salary, you can spend as much money as you want. You can exceed the second apron in the NBA. But once you do that, it limits what you can do in terms of moving players around. It's more of a movement restriction than it is a salary cap. So, just food for thought as we get into that conversation with Elliot Johnson in about 15 minutes. All right, take 2. We may or may not have talked about this. I want to spend a little bit of time, not a ton, on Alexander Nikishin. So we talked about this yesterday because the story came out in a Russian newspaper. They were doing an interview with Nikishin about the season and about what's next. And what's next is he needs a contract. The Carolina Hurricanes have everybody signed and have had everybody signed since Nick Delorier signed his contract prior to the parade, but they did the whole show with Nick signing it on the podium. He had already signed that contract. Everybody's back. In fact, if you look at Carolina's roster right now, Mike Riley hasn't been re-signed, but I don't believe Mike Riley will be re-signed. I think that 7th defenseman will be some combination of Joel Nystrom and Charles Alexis Legault. For whether that's good or not, regardless, I think it'll be some combination of that. They probably need to add another goaltender. But the only outlier to bringing back essentially the entirety of last year's team is a contract for restricted free agent Alexander Nikishin, who has no contractual leverage. He doesn't have arbitration rights. You can't offer sheet him. That time has passed anyway. So he is at the mercy of the negotiations. And he wants an 8-year contract, and he can sign an 8-year deal up until, I believe, September 23rd, when that's the deadline for that. And I think we're going to go right up to that. He wants an 8-year he wants a long-term contract for a lot of money. And it's pretty clear that the Hurricanes are not interested in doing that, not at his number. So we have two different things working here. And it doesn't have to be any more complicated than this. Alexander Nikishin looks at himself as one of the best young defensemen in the sport. And those guys have signed big contracts. Lane Hudson has signed a big contract, about $8.4 million a year. Jackson Lacombe has signed a big contract, $9 million a year. Both of those players have been, to varying degrees, significantly better than Nikishin early in their careers. I think we have to objectively look at it and go, yep, those guys have had more success. They have been better at either defense or offense. Lane Hudson is an elite offensive player. Alexander Nikishin is an emerging offensive player. He's not elite. We certainly know that there is some potential there. So Nikishin is looking at it from a point of, this is how good I can be. And the Hurricanes have to decide whether or not what they have seen suggests that he can be as impactful offensively as Hudson, or impactful on both ends of the rink as Lacombe. And those are just two of the defensemen we're talking about. So because of that, because the Hurricanes have not seen that, they are not about to make that bet. They are not about to say a guy who is going to play on our third pair, because I'm pretty sure that the Hurricanes' top four from last year, given health, will be the top four this year, meaning Slavin and Chatfield, Miller and Walker. And Nikishin will play with Shane Gostisbehere on a third pair. Probably play as offside, and that is good for him because that means that down the road he can play further up the lineup. So with all of that said, because this is the last year of Jalen Chatfield's contract, and there's no guarantee that he would come back, although I think he will. So if you are Nikishin, you have your own self-evaluation and your self-valuation, and you have the Hurricanes who are going, yeah, I'm not sure he's that. So they're not going to pay that until they are positive that he is going to be that. And I do not blame Alexander Nikishin for wanting that contract. He should want that contract. He should think he is that. But if I'm the Hurricanes, I haven't seen that. And because of that, I am not giving him that. How many that's was that? That's why I believe it'll be a bridge deal. Ultimately, they'll decide on 2 years, get you not into free agency, but get you, it will buy Carolina's time, or buy Carolina some time to figure out what Nikishin is. Now, if ultimately they decide that, you know what, we can use him to get better in other areas, they can do that. It would allow them the freedom to do that. And that could end up being the case. And I think they are willing to take a risk that Alexander Nikishin, if he plays significantly better this upcoming year than he did last year, then that number for Nikishin is probably going to be closer to 10 or maybe higher. But if that's the case, then they'll willingly pay it. Because if he is one of those players, then you pay that. And that's okay. And I think the Hurricanes are willing to take that risk. I'll just bring it back to two players who signed contracts last year. Both Jackson Blake and Logan Stankoven signed 8-year contracts 2 years into their NHL deals, which means that they had to play, each played last year, earning less than $1 million. I think they got over that with bonuses, but they played last year earning less than $1 million. That was their salary. And Stankoven signed 8 years, $6 million. Blake signed 8 years. It was more, but the value of it because of deferred money was just under 5.2 for Jackson Blake. If each of those players had waited until this year, I think it is easy to say that both would have been anywhere between 7 and 8 million. The Hurricanes saw their potential, offered a contract that they were comfortable with at the time, and both players took it. Their prerogative. All you can do is try. Alexander Nikishin might not be interested to take maybe a little bit less than his overall value, and he shouldn't be asked to do that. And that's why he's not holding out, but his stance is, I want this if I'm going to sign for 8 years, and he should. And I think the Hurricanes are doing it correctly by not guessing what he will become. I got zero problem with the way the Hurricanes are handling this. And ultimately, if they have to pay him more down the road, they got to pay him more down the road. I think we should all be cool with that. Max, what do you see? What do you look when you see Alexander Nikishin? What do you see?
I see a big physical defenseman that has, just almost like limitless potential. Although, he is 24 or 25. It's not like he's putting up these numbers as a 20-year-old, like a typical rookie would have been this past year. But I don't know. I mean, he's got that potential, but he didn't fully flash the consistency. You think back to the one game where he got the healthy scratch in Winnipeg earlier on in the season. Didn't seem like he had the full trust of the coaching staff. Clearly they found him, capable of at least running the power play too for a good portion of the season. But I don't know. I think there's still a little bit of development needed there. And the sky could be the limit in terms of his offense if he has that kind of opportunity. Like if he were able to run the first power play unit. But he's just. I would agree. I don't know if they would want to spend $8 million a year on what they've seen so far. Now, could he make the next step with this year of NHL experience and maybe a little bit more opportunity? Sure, but I just don't know if that opportunity is available with the way that the Hurricanes' D-core is currently constructed.
We'll see this upcoming year the strides he's made as a player. Right? Here's the one thing, or there are a few things that I think people need to understand. One, it doesn't matter if he gets paid more than Jacob Slavin or Keandre Miller. It doesn't. There's no such animal as, well, we're not paying him more than Slavin or Miller. That doesn't exist. If Nikishin becomes what they would love him to become, which is a dominant offensive force who plays with physicality and purpose on the defensive end on a consistent basis, which he does not, and is got better attention to detail defensively, which he needs. If he does those things, then it doesn't matter what Slavin and Miller makes. This is what the market says that player needs to make, and he'll get it here. But they have to see that. And I think we would be kidding ourselves if we said we saw that in year one. We saw it occasionally, and it usually was in stretches, and then he would go stretches where, not very good. And I think the last stretch of that was in the postseason, where he was not very good. They got away with it. But they hit him. And they limited his ice time. And I don't believe the concussion, by the time he came back to play, I don't think the concussion plays into it. But maybe it did. We have no way of knowing that. All right, when we come back, Elliot Johnson, big leaguer, owner of Max Scherzer. He will join us. We will talk a little bit about the deadline and more about what is coming down the road for Major League Baseball next.
His Zamboni is bigger than yours. The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
When news breaks, don't wait. WRAL News Plus goes with you everywhere. Weather, traffic, and breaking news, live and local, all day, every day. Listen on 96.5 FM in Durham, 99.3 FM in Raleigh, and throughout the Triangle on 101.5 FM HD3. At home, in the car, at work, or on the go. Stay connected to the Triangle's most trusted newsroom anytime, anywhere. WRAL News Plus. Coverage you can count on.
When there's beautiful days happening, the last thing you want to do is be cooped up in the house, and it's too hot to stand around, so hopping on the motorcycle is always a great option. I'm Victoria Vodnecker here from 99.9 The Fan for Law Tigers, and this is the season where most get that urge to do anything and everything outside, which is no different for riders. A lot of charity rides are scheduled during the summer, group rides with friends to the beach are happening, or just a solo ride through the country after a long day at work sounds nice. But there's always that risk of getting into an accident on your motorcycle that wasn't your fault. If that ever happens, always remember to call Law Tigers first before calling your insurance company. At Law Tigers, they're riders too, and they know the value of your bike, your gear, the investment that you've made, and what it's like to go through an accident as a rider. Case evaluations are always free, and you're not going to pay a dime until your case is settled. Call 1-800-LAW-TIGERS, North Carolina's motorcycle lawyers. Law Tigers is a network of independent law firms who are members of the American Association of Motorcycle Injury Lawyers. Law Tigers is not a law firm.
Back then, we'd spend nights in front of the boob tube. We'd take our same seats, smoke cigarettes, and watch until the station played. We all smoked in those days. If that was you then, get your lungs screened now. Surviving lung cancer starts with a scan. Learn more at screenyourlungs.org. This PSA was made possible by industry funding and guidance from lung cancer patient groups.
You hear that? That's the sound of Pepsi Zero Sugar. The better tasting, more refreshing Zero Sugar Cola. Listen to that endless pour. If it sounds this good, just imagine how it tastes. So good. Pepsi Zero Sugar. Let your taste decide.
Stop by Refuel and get 25 cents off per gallon when you buy 2 20-ounce Pepsi Zero Sugars with Refuel rewards.
North Carolina football is back. Join High School OT Saturday, August 8th for the 2026 High School OT Jamboree at First Horizon Stadium at Wake Med Soccer Park. Watch some of the state's top programs hit the field, including Wilson Hunt, Union Pines, J.H. Rose, Rollsville, Southeast Raleigh, Wake Forest, Cardinal Gibbons, Millbrook, Southern Durham, and Middle Creek. Gates open at 3 p.m. JV kicks off at 4. Varsity action starts at 5. Get your tickets now at highschoolot.com.
Good morning, students! Cartoon Network wants you to start your day off right by speaking up
against bullying.
People can be bullied for all kinds of things.
Who they are, where they're from, what they look like, or what they believe.
That's called identity-based bullying. If you see a student being bullied, be supportive.
Ask if they're okay and invite them to join you. You can be an ally
and make a friend.
Friendship.
Visit StopBullyingSpeakUp.com
and redraw your world without bullying.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm, and Chuck McDowell definitely not an attorney. This is Chuck. If someone talked you into buying something really silly and you want to get out of that silly little thing, my advice, get the facts. Call me and I'll send you our timeshare exit kit absolutely free. Inside, you'll learn how timeshare works and all your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley now for your free exit information kit. 800-791-0000. That's 800-791-0000.
One Adam. Gold. One Adam. Gold.
Person in front of me in line had a box of wine.
Oh, yeah. I feel that person. If you are buying boxed wine on a Friday, that thing is open right now.
In the car.
Yeah. I don't even need it to cool down.
She jammed a big straw right through the top of the box in the car.
Went to the gas station to get a cup of ice. Like, they don't even care.
The Adam Gold Show.
It's the Adam Gold Show. I am Adam Gold. Max Gorin producing the program today here on the Adam Gold Show. By the way, I was listening to an album that I think you would like. Later, I'll tell you about it. We'll do it maybe in when we do the 7th inning stretch. I think you would dig it. Because you are the captain of the Yacht Rock. So I have read and heard too many times over the last several weeks that Major League Baseball is headed for a lockout and potentially an entirely vacant 2027 season, and this could be the last World Series we will have. Maybe the Dodgers will win a third in a row, don't know, for maybe, 24 months. I believe that to be erroneous information, but maybe I'm wrong. Elliot Johnson, big leaguer extraordinaire, man who owned Max Scherzer in his career, joins us on the Adam Gold Show. Sir, how are you?
That right up there is fantastic. Owner of Max Scherzer. It's 2 at bats, but I love it.
It doesn't matter.
This is great. Yeah.
Did he ever get you out?
No.
All right, well, you hit 1,000 on a guy who's going into Cooperstown. So good for you. Before we get to any pending labor issues that are coming, and we agree that they are at least going to lock the players out when this season is over. Has that clouded Monday's trade deadline across the league? Are there? I mean, has it impacted the trade deadline in your estimation?
Not yet. No. So everybody's kind of doing the same thing. Look, the number one thing that we're looking at right now with the trade deadline is if Scooble goes to the Dodgers. It's highly probable he does. One of the things to consider as a fan too, it's as much about the Dodgers getting him as it is keeping him away from, like the Braves, for example. Right. So there's a little bit of chess that goes on behind the scenes that is actually phenomenal. I mean, you're really looking at him starting 3-4 times in the playoffs, potentially the World Series. So right. It's more about also securing the rights, and he's got Scott Boras as an agent. So the odds of him signing long-term would be almost negligent, unless they win a World Series and he feels like a real part of winning into the future. Sure. I could see that occurring, but for the most part, it's really just about keeping him away from other teams. It's not like the Dodgers necessarily need him. They just, in terms of playing chess, they're trying to keep him from everybody else.
What would the Dodgers be giving up? And it's funny because as a Mets fan, I'm reading all about how the Mets are going to trade this player and this player and this player. And I don't read, well, they could get a prospect haul for they're just giving players. I don't even understand. What would the Dodgers have to give up to the Tigers to get Tariq Skubal?
Yeah, so it's probably going to be 3 players. It's likely going to be a couple of guys that are top 100 type guys, and then a throw in. So it'll be significant for sure. So the way to think about it as a fan. So what the Dodgers are getting is somebody that's going to help them win the World Series this year. What the Tigers are going to get in return are players, in theory, that are going to help them win in the future. But keep in mind, it's only a rental, meaning that Skubal is only going to help for this year. And so the value is significantly underpinned. So like coming from the Rays and Andrew Friedman, who now runs the Dodgers, of course, like trading David Price at his peak, it's really hard to do that because he's helping your team so much. But the return that you get in terms of future value is what you're looking for. So not to nerd out too much, because I think I'll lose your fan base, but you're basically trying to give up today for the future. So as long as the value that you extract from the pieces you get in return, it's always worthwhile. The problem is the prospects that you get in return, generally speaking, don't ever seem to pan out.
Right.
So the other thing they're contending with is draft pick compensation. Okay, so remember, Mark Teixeira played for the Angels, and the draft pick compensation they got from him for him was Mike Trout. So there's a couple of different contending things, but it's probably going to be 3 players that are all prospects.
Elliot Johnson is joining us here in the Adam Gold Show. I mean, watching the Yankees do this for years, trading 3 of their best prospects for an established, experienced big leaguer, and none of those 3 prospects ever showing up really on a big way. The Yankees at that point were run really well, and I think that's the worst nightmare for Major League Baseball outside of Los Angeles, is that the Dodgers, who generate so many good prospects, keep the ones they really like, sell the ones or trade the ones they don't, and add star-level players to their roster. So the Dodgers have all of this money, and they're run better than everybody else. It is the worst combination for Major League Baseball. They're the anti-Mets, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, I mean, but you compare and contrast, like, so everybody think that there's cause and effect. Your Mets are kind of an example of if you make poor decisions,
Right.
even though you spend money, doesn't necessarily guarantee you that you're going to win. It
Sure.
helps for sure, right? But it doesn't guarantee winning. The Dodgers know what they're doing. They've got surplus guys. I mean, the other thing that's working to their benefit, Adam, that we haven't talked about is they are in the National League and the Tigers are in the American League. And that always plays a role because you're always in more of you have more of an incentive to trade them away outside of your league and obviously outside the division. Okay. So there's always going to be that's going on. It's always a part of it. It's just the reality of the business. But I don't know. I think that the Dodgers, even without Scooble, are probably still likely the favorite. And the real reason is just it's mainly because they have that TV deal that they don't have to share with everybody else. That's something that needs to be talked about and discussed more. So the owners they're in their feelings about it because it's not shared. I mean, the NFL, it works. That model works because the players union with the NFL isn't very good.
No,
there's more guys. It's 53 guys on a roster versus 26. And that plays a dynamic. And then before the season even starts, Adam, every NFL owner gets $100 million because they have a collective TV deal. Whereas in Major League Baseball, they do not have that. If they can fix the TV deal, I think that, the lower market teams wouldn't complain as much, but inevitably they're going to complain about something no matter what.
Elliot Johnson is joining us here on the Adam Gold Show. The NFL dishes out a whole lot more than $100 million to each team. It's almost $500 million per team in shared media revenue. It's an inordinate, a crazy number. So look, you mentioned something with the Dodgers. They don't have to share their local TV deal. That was a deal put in place. I believe it was it Bud Selig or was it Rob Manfred early? Because the Dodgers were having some problems with local television, and they allowed the Dodgers to keep all of it when they should share some of it, right? They don't have to share any of it. And the other thing that I think the Dodgers, and any team can take advantage of this, but the Dodgers have done it better than anybody else, and they did it with the best player in the sport, Shohei Ohtani, is deferred. Like, Ohtani makes $2 million from the Dodgers. Mm-hmm. And the rest of his contract is all deferred money. And a lot of it is, it escapes them from the full luxury tax bill of that contract. So if it was roughly $70 million a year, I think the luxury tax damage is like 46 or 47. That's a significant number that would have gone into further revenue sharing. So there are some things that need to be addressed. But I want to get to a bigger picture because salary, up until the last month, we were talking about, we need more competitive balance in big league baseball. Meanwhile, I think you and I have been talking about the fact that baseball has absolutely at least as much, in many cases more, competitive balance than all of the other major sports that have a salary cap. But now it's not about competitive balance anymore. Now all I'm hearing is franchise values. Is that true?
Yeah. So the owners, they're going to claim that they're going to dig their heels in on this. It's because there's about a handful of them that want to sell, Adam.
Right.
Variable costs on salaries is what's holding back owners from getting a much better acquisition cost. So the ones that are trying to sell right now want it because it changes that line item from variable to fixed, and then you get a much higher payment for your team. Okay, just that's the simplest way to explain it right now. So that's what they're screaming about. The reality is the big market teams and the small market teams are having a problem. Okay, so they're going to drag the players into it just because they can, just to see what they can squeeze from them while they can. But in reality, that's what the real negotiation is about, and it's squarely on the Dodgers because they're having a really hard time competing with the best, smartest front office in the game, and they make the best decisions, and they have the most money to spend. So that's really what it's about more than anything else. They're trying to do everything they can. They're going to drag the Mets into it, but the Mets aren't as good.
No.
But if the Mets had been winning, they would be more emboldened, and we'd hear more about what Steve's doing up there. But because they're losing, that actually hurts them from a momentum standpoint. But the Dodgers are going to keep winning, whether they get Skubal or not. It doesn't matter. They're still going to win. If it does, they're going to be more emboldened, and I guarantee you they're going to bring it up a lot that the Dodgers, they keep on winning and there's nothing they can do about it. Keep in mind, Adam, every team, every single one, you brought up deferred contracts with Shohei. Every team could have done the same exact thing for Shohei. Give him $2 million today. It's like 43, 44 million, whatever it is against your cap, so be it. But he brings so much business to the team, not just from ticket sales, but from media rights, from everybody in Japan watching and everybody buying a Shohei jersey and all those types of things. They could have done the exact same thing, but they weren't creative enough. They weren't smart enough, and they weren't in a position to be where Shohei wanted to play. I mean, the Blue Jays made a really strong play for him, and they couldn't get him, but they made a play, which I respect. And maybe that would have been the difference between the World Series last year. Who knows, right? So from that standpoint, what's interesting about the rules is none of these front offices are creative enough to present that to Shohei to get his services, whereas all of them could have. Nothing prevents any other team from saying, hey, we'll give you deferred money. The Nationals have done it with Scherzer. I think the Mets have done it with Scherzer and Verlander as well. I'm not sure, but I know that every team could have done it if they wanted to, and they chose not to.
Yeah, the Mets didn't do it with Juan Soto. That might have been a Soto deal, and that's fine. And I know the Mets have other issues. I don't want to keep bringing them up. Here's what's interesting. When Shohei Ohtani, Elliot Johnson is joining us here in the Adam Gold Show. When Ohtani was with the Angels and it was clear that that he was going to be traded and he was possibly available at the trade deadline, I know several Orioles fans that thought, man, we should really go after him. I'm like, yeah, but we can't afford him. I'm like, what are you talking about? Everybody can afford Shohei Ohtani. Every single team. Who's got the lowest payroll in Major League Baseball? The Cleveland Indians. I'm sorry, Guardians. My fault. But you played for them. The Miami Marlins. They could afford Shohei Ohtani because he pays for himself X times over. Alex Rodriguez, when he left Seattle to go to Texas, almost 30 years ago, he was worth the price because he paid for himself. Those guys are free.
That's a good way to look at it. And so what'll upset a lot of the fan bases is if you look at it as a net neutral contract, which is what Juan Soto is in any team in baseball, because he brings so much in wins. They're underestimating the impact of business that Shohei has to the organization. I mean, he generates a ton of money for them.
Yeah.
The Dodgers aren't dumb. I bet you, even though they're paying him $700 million, they're still going to make money from Shohei. That's just a fact.
Of course they do.
It's just the way it is. Remember when the Phillies were going to the World Series, owner came and hugged Bryce Harper and said, even though we're paying you $30 million, you're still underpaid relative to the value that you create for our organization. Isn't that amazing? That's from the owner to Bryce. And I'm sure he didn't want that going public, but that's one of the best players in the game, who's one of the highest paid players in the game, is still a net positive to the organization. So we know it's not about salaries, Adam. They're just dragging the players into it just to see what they can get. It's mostly about keeping the Dodgers in check. That's what this whole thing's about.
Two quick things before we say goodbye to Elliot Johnson. One, I can bring up Tom Brady as an example. I can bring up Michael Jordan as an example. LeBron James as an example. Victor Wembanyama just accepted a contract that was publicly below what he could have demanded to make it easier on the San Antonio Spurs to put a team around him. Why should he, and I'm using this term with air quotes, and I get it, why should Wembanyama sacrifice what he should be getting so the owners who have billions can put a better team around him? They shouldn't have to do that. That is artificially dampening the salary market for these players. That should not be the case. I still don't understand why fans don't side with players over owners. I'll never, ever, ever figure it out.
All right. So the reason is simple, Adam, because they know how to present a plan to these franchise guys to get them to buy in. Because like Tom Brady is a perfect example. I'm glad you brought him up. And Michael Jordan, another great example. I'm glad you brought him up. They cared more about winning than they did about maximizing money. It's that simple. Okay. So if you're A-Rod and you're on the Rangers, you're the MVP every single year, but you lose every year. That's not much fun.
Right.
Okay. So once you get through, so there's 4 stages of development in a Major League Baseball player's life. Is 1, you're just happy to be there. 2, you want to prove that you belong. 3, you want to make as much money as possible. And 4, you just want to win. Okay. So Wemby has gotten to the point now where he wants to win. He's got all kinds of money. He's got endorsements. He's going to be fine. I can tell you this, playing in the big leagues, if you're not losing, it's pretty miserable, especially if you're in the, if you're in that Mets clubhouse, because everything is negative from the media. Right. Negativity sells, and you're losing every single day. The more negative information and news they can get out there, the better clicks they're going to get. The more clicks they get, then the news organizations make more money. It's simple, right? But if you're winning solves everything. It's the cure for everything. Okay. And if you're making an amount of money to where, you're not disrespected, you're happy. That's why Wemby will do it. That's why Brady will do it, because winning is really what matters more than the amount of money that you make. And so now Tom is happy. He's got however many rings, 6, 8, whatever it is. He's fine. He's going to be okay. It was worth it to him.
Sure.
I can assure you this, every single player that makes a lot of really good money, they would be willing to give up millions of dollars in exchange for the rings and the amount of respect that they're going to get, because the only currency that matters more to these guys in terms of dollars is respect. Respect is the ultimate amount of currency. As long as you're respected everywhere you go, then they will give up millions of dollars as a result.
Elliot Johnson on the Adam Gold Show, 2 for 2 all time against Max Scherzer. One was a triple, right?
No, he threw me a fastball, line drive to left, and then he threw me a 3-2 changeup with a guy on second, single to center.
Wait a second.
Guy throws 98, 3-2 changeup. What a mistake.
I love the fact that you remember the count and the pitch. That is next level. All right, my man, I appreciate your time.
Pleasure as always, Adam.
You got it. Elliot Johnson here on the Adam Gold Show. I was wrong. It wasn't a triple. I got to go look. I got to go dig it up. Max Scherzer versus Elliot Johnson, 2 for 2. All right. Look, Elliot and I are on the same side of this argument. Major League Baseball, they're going to tell you, I promise you, it has nothing to do with competitive balance. When the owners shut the season down next year, and they tell you it's so the Pirates can compete with the Dodgers, that is not the case. It is absolutely not true. Because the Pirates, whether they can compete with the Dodgers or not is another matter. The salary cap would not achieve that. And it is a fallacy if you believe it. It is sad if you believe it. Because there are too many other factors that go into whether or not you can compete. And the truth of the matter is that in the National Football League, there is a wide disparity between forget about the salary cap, between what some teams pay and other teams pay. That goes beyond the range of a ceiling and a floor of a salary cap. There's a wide disparity. Same thing in the NBA. In the NHL, it's the only league with a true salary cap, by the way. Is the NHL. And even those numbers you can get around in some ways, but it's all kind of within the margin for error. But the NHL is the only league with a true salary cap. So if you want to bring it up, that would be the better example where, say, Carolina can compete and be better than Detroit, the Rangers, etc. So there's a different conversation to be had. But this is 100% about the value of your franchise and why Major League Baseball teams have not appreciated to the same rate of NBA teams, of NHL teams. Well, they have pretty much with the NHL, but of NFL teams. And I would argue that that Major League Baseball is more along the lines in reality than those other teams, the other two leagues are. And here's the other thing I have failed to understand forever. Why should you as a fan care? Because it has nothing to do with you. Franchise valuation does not help the team win. Has nothing to do with it. So why should you as a fan care what the owners, if you're a Pirates fan, why should you care that a salary cap, if instituted, would suddenly make the Pirates, and I'm throwing weird numbers out, that would suddenly make the Pirates worth $3 billion? Why would you? Doesn't help you. It doesn't help you win. It doesn't help your team win. Your team investing in their own players and maybe other players from around the league, that would help your team win. But the Pirates don't seem interested, although they're in a playoff race right now. Fringy in it. They're playing .500 baseball, kind of in it. One more quick thing. I would point this out. The three leaders in the American League, none of them are top 10 in payroll. None. Tampa's 23rd, the White Sox are 28th, Texas is 14th. In the National League, two of the three division leaders, Atlanta 6, the Dodgers 2. Milwaukee is 19th. Playoff teams, the Yankees are in a playoff spot, they're 3rd. Boston's in a playoff spot, they're 12th. Cleveland's in a playoff spot, they're dead last. Maybe payroll isn't all what it shakes out to be. Just think about that. We'll stretch. I have an album recommendation for Max, and we'll place bets next.
Asheville to Wilmington, Boone to Durham, The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Are you taking care of someone on Medicare? Navigating Medicare can be overwhelming. You're not alone. The NC Department of Insurance SHIP program can help you figure out what steps to take and when. SHIP counselors can answer your questions. Visit ncshiip.com or call toll-free at 855-408-1212. SHIP provides free, unbiased help in all 100 counties.
Project supported by grants from the Administration for Community Living. Contents do not necessarily represent official views of, nor an endorsement by ACL, HHS, or the U.S. government.
Smokey the Bear.
Then you know why Smokey tells you when he sees you passing through. Remember, please be careful, it's the least that you can do.
What you desire, don't play with matches, don't play with fire.
After 80 years of learning his wildfire prevention tips, Smokey Bear lives within us all. Learn more at SmokeyBear.com, and remember,
only you can prevent wildfires.
Brought to you by the USDA Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
If you want the nation's best auto insurer, look no further than North Carolina Farm Bureau Insurance. Rated #1 in Crash Network's Insurer Report Card 7 years in a row, we're the only insurer in the nation to receive an A+ rating from auto body shops. Our philosophy is simple: be fair, be quick, be the best. North Carolina Farm Bureau Insurance. Helping you is what we do best.
Your child's doctor shares your goals: a healthy future for your child. Doctors recommend vaccines throughout childhood because they protect what matters most: your child's future from preventable disease and serious illness. Discuss any questions you have and check that your child is up to date and talk about any concerns. You're right to have questions. Get real answers. Start a conversation with your doctor today. Visit vaccinesforkids.nc.gov. Paid for by NCDHHS.
The North Carolina Healthcare Association invites you to listen to this month's podcast, Conversations on the State of Healthcare. We're delving into a new NCHA report titled More Than Medicine, the Economic Impact of North Carolina Hospitals. My guest is Josh Dobson, President and CEO of the North Carolina Healthcare Association.
Hospitals generated about $52 billion in economic impact last year, roughly 6% of the entire state's gross domestic product. They spent around $44 billion on operations and workforce expenses. And that spending does ripple outward into local economies. Hospitals are often among the largest employers in a region, especially rural communities. In fact, they're among the top 10 employers in 95 of North Carolina's 100 counties.
You can learn more and join our latest conversations on the state of healthcare wherever you listen to your favorite podcast. And find out more by visiting nchealthcare.org.
As veterans, we're no strangers to helping others.
It's what we were taught, trained, and told to do.
It could be for anything. Helping a friend move.
Listening to a fellow veteran for hours, at any hour of the day.
or just simply making time for people, a neighbor, a loved one, or even a stranger.
We're often the first to help others. There's no question about it.
But we do have one question for the veterans listening.
When was the last time you reached out for help?
Perhaps it's time to do for yourself what you would do for others.
If you or someone you know needs resources, whether it's for stress, finances, employment, or mental health, don't wait. Reach out.
Find more information at va.gov/reach. That's va.gov/reach.
Brought to you by the United States Department of Veterans Affairs and the Ad Council.
Gold. Gold.
I told Jack in the car, you know what the word of the year is? He goes, what? I said it's 6'7". He just laughed.
I know.
It just means nothing. And that's fantastic that it's now the word of the year. What a country.
Can we bring back cool story, bro? That way, us millennials can be like, yeah, cool story, bro. I would love
The Adam Gold Show.
It's the Adam Gold Show. I'm Adam Gold. Max Gorin on the ones and twos. Before we stretch and place bets, are you familiar with the Dukes of September, Max?
I'm not.
All right, you're a Michael McDonald fan, are you not?
That I am.
Yeah. Would you consider him the GOAT for you?
I don't know. He's up there, top 5 for sure.
All right, I'll be interested to know who's higher. Well, Dukes of September, you can find they're mostly live albums, if not all. It's Michael McDonald, it's Donald Fagen from Steely Dan, and Boz Scaggs. And they have toured as a trio and play each other's songs and other songs, and you would dig it because it's yacht rock personified. So for you, I was listening to it today.
Nice.
And I thought about you as I was doing whatever I had to do in the morning. You don't seem moved, but that's fine. Let's stretch.
Gosh, sometimes that button is kind of hard to find.
Yes. There's so many
There's
people
a lot
going,
of buttons.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah. So let's see here. This story stuck out to me because I just traveled back. I went on a trip this past weekend to go visit a friend on the West Coast. Obviously,
San Fran, right?
Yes. Obviously, that involves a lot of flying, a lot of travel, and of course going through TSA. Well, the TSA at an Alabama airport discovered some stolen Civil War era cannonballs in someone's suitcase recently. This happened at the Gulf Shores International Airport on July 18th. When the agent observed what appeared to be a large opaque item inside a suitcase during a screening. When he opened the luggage, he found 5 small cannonballs wrapped in paper towels and notified a supervisor. The cannonballs, the largest of which was about the size of a grapefruit and weighed about as much of a shot put ball, were inactive and did not contain any explosive material. So I guess
that's good.
Not as much risk for anyone if that had actually gotten onto the plane. Police eventually determined the cannonballs were stolen from Fort Morgan, based on the marking on the artifacts by Fort staff, dated to the Civil War. So a juvenile stole the cannonballs from a storage area in the fort and put them in their grandma's checked bag. The grandma whose bag they were in did not know that they were stolen. So I guess just make sure no one's putting stolen Civil War artifacts in your luggage the next time you go to the airport, because somebody at TSA will find them and will take them out. But actually, she didn't know they were stolen, so I guess I don't know what else she could have done differently other than vetting the origin of said cannonballs that were in her check bag.
I mean, aren't they kind of big, cannonballs?
About the size of a grapefruit was the biggest one, apparently, so not that big.
Okay, yeah, the cannons are not. Yeah,
they're heavy though.
Thinking about bowling balls. Bowling that would be tough too.
And they kill you with the overweight fees. So I don't know how that didn't, unless her bag was like not that full. Otherwise, like I don't know how somebody wouldn't be like, hey, this is overweight. You can take something out.
It's a check bag.
That's what it said.
Right. No,
not a carry-on.
Could you put it in your backpack? I mean, I don't think it would get through security.
Oh, clearly not. It didn't get through the check security. I don't know if what their process is and how it's different than just like putting your carry-on through the scanner, but yeah, I don't know. I don't know what if
it
the
would
kid thought it would
get
through.
singled out. I mean, if you can't bring a big enough bottle of like conditioner.
Yeah, if I have a full size bottle of toothpaste, they take it out and throw it away.
Heathens.
Don't take cannonballs to the airport. That's the
very good motto.
That's the moral of the story, and don't steal them from Civil War forts either.
Very good motto to live by. Appreciate it.
And yeah, I don't have a good segue, so we'll just switch to play some bets.
Fine.
Place your bets. Place your bets. Here we are. I bet you slice into the woods $100.
Gambling is illegal at Bushwood, sir, and I never slice.
Okay, you can owe me. I owe you nothing.
All right. I have no idea how I did yesterday. So you go. You always start.
I don't even remember. Oh, I picked Ben Shelton yesterday. I'm pretty sure he did win, so that was good.
That's fine.
So Red Sox, my Red Sox, 25-5 over their last 30 games, but they're starting a series with the LA Dodgers in Los Angeles tonight, and the Red Sox are underdogs. So we'll take the Red Sox money line at plus 116. They have not been underdogs in a little while because they've been so red hot. So Red Sox plus 116.
There's 6 games over 500.
Yeah, they were like the worst team in the American League before this winning started.
I mean, it's if you think about it, for people like me, we're Mets fans, it's the opposite of what the Mets did last year. The Mets had one of the best records in baseball until like middle of June last year and went the other way. They finished a few games over 500, but they were a train wreck. Yankees are in Chicago to play the Cubs. Two great interleague series, though we shouldn't have interleague baseball at all. Yankees are underdogs at Chicago. We'll go the Yankees and under 9 runs. It's plus 276.
I'll take a couple shots at the Rocket Classic in Detroit. Cameron Young just went super low today. I think he shot a 61.
Ooh.
9 under today. He's currently tied for the lead. He's plus 350 to win the tournament, so I'll take him. And Ricky Fowler plus 700 because he won there a couple years ago. It was kind of his big resurgence back into somewhat competitive contention. So Ricky Fowler plus 700. That'll be my other pick to win the Rocket Classic.
All right. Major League Soccer. Orlando City is playing. I think they are at New York Red Bulls, which I believe they play in New Jersey. They still call them New York Red Bulls. Antoine Griezmann, anytime goal scorer. Orlando City to win. Plus 343.
Those are all my picks. If Charlotte FC's playing this weekend, I'll take them. I don't know what the odds are, but we usually don't finish ahead of time. So
good news. Alan St. Maximin has gotten his visa. He can travel to the United States. I don't know if he's going to be in the team coming up this weekend, but yes, St. Maximin is here. He will be electric on the ball for CFC. Know that.
Delivering more hits than the Canes forecheck.
He scores!
The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Excuse me, you think you could spare a square?
Sorry, what?
A square on your smartphone.
Oh, yeah, for the 99.9 The Fan app.
Exactly. Listen to your favorite hosts, teams, and live sports action.
The Carolina Hurricanes are the best team in the NHL. They won the 2026 Stanley Cup.
And every podcast episode at your fingertips, anytime, anywhere.
Available for Apple iPhone and Android phones. Download the 99.9 The Fan app today.
I'm glad you agreed to this date, Mr. First Tuesday.
Oh, me too, but I have to admit something. I've never been on a first date.
But you are a date, and first is in your name.
Yeah, I guess I've just been married to my work, you know? Spreading the news about new scratch-offs coming out every first Tuesday.
New scratch-offs release every first Tuesday?
Wait, you don't know about new scratch-off tickets that come out Okay. Well, okay. You got me.
Must be 18 to play. Problem Gambling Helpline, 877-718-5543.
It's bow time. Ordering Bojangles Bow Bites is the easiest choice you'll make today. The bite-sized hand-breaded chicken is fried to crispy perfection, making it perfect for sharing, snacking, or when you're on the go. Just don't call it a nugget. The only hard part is choosing from our 6 dipping sauces. We've got a sauce for every kind of craving, from our creamy house-made ranch to our sweet and spicy peach honey pepper sauce. It all depends on what kind of mood you're in. Head to your nearest Bojangles today and discover the dippable, shareable, and craveable Bow Bites. It's bow time.
There's no time like bow time.
Time to head on over to Bojangles to try Bojangles' new Bo Bites. Bite-sized hand-breaded chicken fried to crispy perfection. On the go, they're perfect for snacking or sharing. Dipped in your favorite sauce like creamy house-made ranch or peach honey pepper, they're the perfect way to satisfy your craving for flavor and value. Try Bojangles' new Bo Bites. It's an easy choice to make when it's Bo time.
The future depends on teachers who are reinventing the classroom and starting their students on journeys that will change the course of history. Shape the future. Teach. Learn more and receive free support at teach.org.
If you have a 2, 3, or 4% mortgage rate, don't refinance it. You don't have to, but you can still get cash out of your home. Introducing Loan Pronto's zero-cost equity loan. Hey, it's Dennis Cox. That's right. With Loan Pronto, you can get all the cash you need without touching your first mortgage and without any fees. One local homeowner just got $100,000, paid off all their credit cards, paid off their existing HELOC, remodeled their kitchen, and saved over $1,500 per month. It gets better. There's no hard credit pull up front, usually no appraisal, no long drawn-out process, and listen, no closing costs. You may be able to even skip your next 2 house payments. Call Loan Pronto now. Leave your low-rate mortgage intact, but get the cash you need in as little as 2 weeks without paying closing costs. LoanPronto.com. See how much you can get right now. Call 919-381-1760. That's 919-381-1760. LoanPronto.com. For qualified homeowners, equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781, NMLSConsumerAccess.org.
Out here, you know the drill. Animals are hungry, dogs are getting muddy, and you just noticed you're low on feed. Stocking up at Tractor Supply is easy on your wallet with our unbeatable prices on select shavings, retriever dog food, and Producer's Pride animal and poultry feed. From backyards to barnyards, we've got everything to keep your pets, animals, and livestock well fed and comfortable with low prices all summer. At Tractor Supply.
I'm attorney Brian Ritchie. Big truck accidents can cause life-changing injuries, and life-changing injuries deserve life-changing money. I know big truck wrecks, and I know how to fight those big insurance companies. If you've been hurt by a big truck, contact us at ritchielaw.com. I'm on top of it.
Broadcasting live from the Eagle Leasing Storage Studio. WCMC HD1 Holly Springs. 99.9 The Fan. The Canes light the lamp here.
Ready for some football season. Always good to get started. We've had a good month of training in June and July, month and a half. But training's training and football's football. We're underway, and this is where we build our fundamentals and we build our communication and get a good foundation so that when we are ready to move forward into more contact practices and situational plays and things like that, that we have a good base to build on those.
It's the Adam Gold Show. I'm Adam Gold. Max Gorham producing the program today. Roundtable in about 15 minutes. We will have Cory Smith of Pack Power and Mark Ennis of ESPN Louisville. We'll talk a lot of ACC and college football and whatever else comes up on the panel. But we reserve this time to kind of reset the day, tell you or let you listen to some of the best sound bites that we've got in the Wall of Sound.
The Wall of Sound is a function of this studio. There's no doubt about it.
All right, we'll start in Chapel Hill. This is yesterday morning. Lee Roberts, the chancellor, and there have been many people who have said that Lee Roberts embarrassed himself yesterday, and I actually feel like it's the opposite. I think he humanized himself, and this is my opinion, yesterday. Because I don't believe that he was the driving force behind Bill Belichick. We just heard Bill Belichick in the open. And I don't believe it was his preference, even after being convinced. But money talks in college sports. The money wanted Bill. And this is what the money got. And I don't believe Lee is happy about it.
I'm disappointed that we're talking about this. We should be focusing on our student athletes and on their success on the field and on all of the wonderful things that happen at this university every day, providing opportunities for students from every nook and cranny of North Carolina. And so it's distressing to me and everyone else in the administration entrusted with leadership at this remarkable university that this is something that we have to spend time on.
Yeah, it is. And he's really referring there to Michael Lombardi, the soon-to-be former general manager of UNC football, because that's really where this is going to end, because yesterday they opened up the investigation. You know, they announced that there was an inquiry. There was a former football front office staffer who filed an HR complaint regarding Michael Lombardi. They put him on paid administrative leave, and they are embarking on an investigation. That's not going to end well. Here's another thing. We and I saw this story, and I have not dug into it, but Lombardi was also spending time last year trying to dig up investment funds in Saudi Arabia. All right. I mean, if you can get it, they're certainly not spending money on professional golf now. So maybe you can get a few billion. They got nothing else to do with it. All right, Mike Tannenbaum from ESPN, their front office insider, if you will, on Baker Mayfield, who has complained that the Buccaneers have only offered him a 2-year contract extension. Here's Tannenbaum.
Baker Mayfield is easily aggrieved. He's easily aggrieved. He is a good player. He's a good person. He is easily aggrieved. He was aggrieved in Cleveland. He was aggrieved in Carolina. He's been aggrieved by Kevin Stefanski. He's now been aggrieved by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Guys, what I would tell him is be quiet. Just be grateful and go play. Because when you graduate from Tampa Bay at the end of this year, how many teams are left on this planet that are going to pay you $50 million or more that need a quarterback that aren't going to draft one?
Mike Tannenbaum makes a good point. Here's Aaron Goldhammer from Cleveland, by the way. So they have familiarity with Baker Mayfield.
I think it's not personal, and I think he's making it personal. Imagine if the Bucs came out and said, we're disrespected by the fact that we offered Baker X amount of dollars, but we offered him almost $100 million or whatever it was, $90 million. I don't know. I'm sure it was a big number of guaranteed money, Amber. They didn't, again, I'm sure they did not walk in there with a really disrespectful, you know what, we're going to pay you less than Jacoby Brissett. Like, he wants to be compensated like he's one of the top 5 or 7 quarterbacks in the league. I think he's not. The Buccaneers agree with me. None of that is disrespectful to him. It's a business negotiation. I think that the person who's being disrespectful here is Baker and not anybody involved with the Bucs in the way Jason Light Company are trying to handle this negotiation.
All right. I don't think Baker Mayfield is being disrespectful. I don't think the Buccaneers are being disrespectful. I think you can make good points on both sides. I think Baker Mayfield is a good quarterback. I think he carries himself like a true number one. He carries himself better than he actually is, but he's a good quarterback. And he's a quarterback that not only can you win with, but does have the ability to win games for you. But he was drafted in 2019. That's a long time ago now. So we're talking about somebody who's already in his 30s, pretty much. And I don't know that I'm and remember, this contract is for next year, not this year. I don't think we're talking about somebody who's going to continue to be at a high level into his mid-30s. So I get why Tampa Bay is trying to keep this to a 2-year deal. But the initial point of Mike Tannenbaum is true. Baker Mayfield creates an enemy. Remember, we've seen the audio about how much he vilified Steve Wilkes, the interim head coach of the Carolina Panthers, after Mayfield had already fallen out of favor. Mayfield went to the team and said, trade me. And they were like, All right, well, they actually released him so he could sign wherever he wanted. They didn't even get anything for him. They just let him go. They did him a solid, but that's not the way Mayfield processes things. It's like, I have to create an enemy, so he created one out of Steve Wilkes. Good for Baker Mayfield. It's not easy to do that, by the way. You have to be special to be able to do that. All right, Adam Schefter from ESPN. We know we've got two of the best young running backs in the sport. Jahmyr Gibbs with the Lions and Bijan Robinson with the Falcons that are essentially, and they have reported to training camp, they are there, but they are not doing what everybody else is doing because they are holding in for new contracts. Here's Schefter on those situations.
It should surprise nobody. Both running backs have so much at stake, and both are poised to reset the market and become the highest paid running backs in NFL history. It doesn't make sense for them from a financial standpoint to step onto a field to risk injury while their contracts still are not done. Now, both running backs, Gibbs and Robinson, have had conversations at various points during the offseason. And I think the feeling around the league continues to be that there will be deals that get done at some point this summer for both backs, Robinson and Gibbs. But as long as those deals are not done, it appears as if the running backs have decided that they cannot afford to be on the practice field risking any sort of injury.
Let me tell you, these are two of the best running backs in the league. There's no doubt. Gibbs' numbers are staggering, and we know how good Robinson is. He basically has not missed a game in 3 years. Jahmyr Gibbs. He's averaged better than 5 yards a carry in each season. He has 39 career rushing touchdowns. He can catch the ball out of the backfield as well. He's got 181 receptions out of the backfield in 3 years. That's pretty tough for a young running back. That's the part of the game that probably comes last for most running backs. And Robinson also a phenomenal talent. And they are due to get their money. And this is where we get to how terrible the NFL's collective bargaining agreement is, because the teams control you for as long as they want to control you, basically. So a running back's effective career, very few running backs have a shelf life beyond 5 years. Very few. You can probably count on one hand the number of running backs that were drafted more than 5 years ago that are still very effective if they have been utilized throughout their career. Some guys don't really get on the field until later, like Chuba Hubbard really didn't play a ton until he had been in the league a little bit. There are just very few guys that are worth paying beyond year 5 who play the running back position. These two guys, it's only been 3 years. They deserve their money. They should be able to get paid today. But that's not the way it works in the NFL. Max Gorin, all right. He is producing the program. We're going to take a break, come back in the rewind. In the roundtable. Cory Smith of Pack Power, Mark Ennis, ESPN Louisville. Talk a lot of ACC and college football next.
Delivering more hits than the Canes forecheck.
Shoots, he scores!
The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Listen every afternoon for The Drive with Tim Donnelly.
Don't look now, but the Carolina Panthers are actually, get ready for it, getting some love. There's going to be some hype. There's going to be some expectations this year. Top 5 defensive tackle Derek Brown. Top 100 players, 4 of them. It is time for everybody to gather around and get ready that there might be some high stakes for the Panthers this season.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 3 to 6 on 99.9 The Fan.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along. Which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. It finds them for you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
This is what breaking news on WRAL sounds like.
Sky 5 captured the moments a high-speed chase ended in a crash.
From the moments that matter.
Let's take a look at those live pictures right now from Sky 5, and you can see
when seconds count.
Authorities say they are very concerned for the safety of the public. And
when your safety is the priority.
It's still an active scene. Take a look behind
and
me.
We begin at 6 with that breaking news. Hello and thanks for joining us. I'm Gerald Owens.
Watch WRAL News. Breaking news coverage you can count on.
I'm Sam, owner of Marino's Landscape. With my Chase Ink Business Premier Card, I earn unlimited 2.5% cash back on purchases of $5,000 or more. So everything I buy to run my landscaping business gives me cash back to help throw a big thank you party for my team. For all they do.
Chase Ink. Cash back built for every business. Find the right card at chase.com/ink. Real business owner compensated for their participation. Cards issued by JP Morgan Chase Bank and a member FDIC. Subject to credit approval. Terms apply.
Hi. I don't even know why I'm calling right now. I'm sorry. My thoughts are going a mile a minute.
No matter how you served.
I left the service last year. My mom just passed away a few months ago. I missed so much time with her.
No matter what you're going through.
Before I knew what to expect every day. And now I have so many decisions to make. I keep getting calls about the bills, and I'm trying to get a job, but I feel so stuck.
We are here for you.
Okay, ma'am. I'm glad you called. Let's stay on the line and walk through some things.
If you or a veteran in your life is experiencing thoughts of suicide, dial 988, then press 1 to reach the Veterans Crisis Line.
See if you're a winner every night. Watch live lottery drawings on WRAL TV's 11 o'clock news. That's right, Carolina Pick 3, Carolina Pick 4, and Carolina Cash 5 numbers every night on WRAL TV's 11 o'clock news. See if you're a winner before you go off to bed. Get your lottery numbers live every night.
North Carolina Education Lottery.
Only on WRAL TV's 11 o'clock news.
This is Adam Gold.
Well, if I'm watching the Panthers game and it's going real bad, many times it does.
I'd punish them by not watching
I'm
them.
a disappointed mother.
Yeah.
Like, what are you doing? So, yeah, I realize it's not going to change the game, but it makes me feel better. And,
There were other factors at play there, but for the most part, I punish them. I will not watch
right.
you.
The Adam Gold Show.
Camelot. It's only a model.
Oh, here we are. Great open for this, by the way. Monty Python puts everybody in a good mood. It is time for the Adam Gold Show Roundtable on a Friday from Pack Power, noted ACC football scribe, and apparently a crypto entrepreneur, Cory Smith, and from ESPN Louisville, I don't know his crypto habits, Mark Ennis. Two of my absolute favorites. There's a joke in there with Cory. I hope you get your account back. I hope both of you guys are doing well. Mark, I'm going to start with you. Is it going better or going worse or about as you expected in Chapel Hill?
I tell you what, it's going about as I expected. And it really has nothing to do with North Carolina, like the job itself or anything. I just have never once, for a millisecond, been given the impression that Bill Belichick is aware of how college football works or is interested in learning how college football works. and just in terms of temperament and the way of, you do things and knowing what it takes to gin up support and interest in college football, has no desire to do any of that. This has gone almost exactly the way that I thought that it would, and it's primarily just because I don't think he cares.
I want to get to that element, but I'll just leave the question for Cory. I think you can make an argument that it's gone way worse, regardless of how underwhelming the football has been. Cory, what do you think?
Yeah, I think the craziest part out of all this too is the fact that there's been so many resources dumped into this program that previously had not been there. Like UNC was not able to drum up the money that it has suddenly now for previous head coaches, and obviously being in the NIL era, being in the revenue sharing era, they've done all the right things except for making the right hires, except for bringing in people that actually want to uplift this program. One of those being somebody that I'm sure Mark is pretty well aware of, and Bobby Petrino coming over and being the now de facto offensive coordinator for a program that just has no interest in like Mark said, actually, seeing this through and becoming a legitimate college football program, because you've got all the things there. They just haven't done it for themselves at this point.
I want to address what Mark said. Like that Bill doesn't really get college football, doesn't want to be there. I thought it was pretty apparent that it wasn't really about North Carolina for Bill, that it was about proving to the NFL that he could still do it, and that Bill was using UNC to that end, and UNC, with all the resources that came in and the name of Bill Belichick, was going to try to use Belichick to add water and have an instant football program. And that I think both sides underestimated just how difficult that it is to do something like that at a place that didn't really have, I don't know if the infrastructure is the right word, maybe the culture is a better word, but do you get the sense that that's what we're talking about here, Mark?
Yeah, isn't what you just described like the plot of Last Chance U? Where it's like, you don't want to be here. We had bigger dreams than this too.
Right.
Let's use one another and get the hell out of here. And instead, it's been a complete disaster. And really, in the end, Bill Belichick is maybe the least suited person to do the thing that's like the most essential part of college sports, which is just sort of injecting all of this energy and demanding attention and selling. In the NFL, you can just be results oriented. You can just be transactional, because that is what it is, and the results are what matters. And the league will sell itself. But in college, you're an independent consultant. Every school is sort of on their own for making sure that you have a reason to pay attention to them, and that people do, and that people want to participate. And I can't think of anyone less suited for that. And he's never once given you any reason to think that he'd be interested in trying to do that.
Oh, I 100% agree. Cory Smith, before we turn over to another topic, I'm curious. I think we all agree that the job in and of itself, I mean, it's not an elite job in college football, but the head coach at the University of North Carolina, especially with the school's upward mobility, when the whole thing shakes out, when we hit, when they push the button in 5 years and it all blows up, I mean, that university is going to be in a good spot, as NC State will be, I believe. But what do you think about the job as a whole? Forget about Bill, but just the job as head coach at North Carolina.
Yeah, I mean, look, the brand that's built in at UNC has always been greater than basically anything across North Carolina. I mean, that's just as simple as it gets. I mean, obviously Duke being what they are in basketball is one thing, but the brand of UNC, regardless of how upset NC State fans will get at me for saying this, like, it is that elite. It is that highly regarded, that when, whoever the college football coach is that heads into high schools and recruiting and all those things, they're stepping in, and people you have this aura already built in. Obviously, Larry Fedora didn't do a very good job when it comes to the high school side of things. Matt Brown didn't do as good of a job when it came to the portal. Now you're trying to get all of that done with Bill Belichick, and it's not working. So, yeah, I mean, I think they're still going to be in a good shape as long as the brand of UNC is still intact. by that point. I think that's the most important element here.
But Jordan Hudson is in charge of the brand of UNC, so everything is in good shape. All right.
Well. Yeah.
Where is the bigger gap? Is the bigger gap between Miami and I'm not talking about record because the schedules are way too different. Is the bigger gap between Miami and whoever is next, Louisville or SMU, or between Louisville and SMU and the next group of teams, Cory?
Probably Louisville, SMU, and then the rest of the teams, just because of the fact that I do think, NC State has a chance to put themselves in that upper echelon because of the schedule.
Right.
But I don't believe that anybody, we haven't seen it proven year over year in the ACC that there's really just this number one dog in the ACC. And obviously, last year, a lot of people thought it was going to be Clemson. That proved to be obviously the wrong choice.
Sure.
We're talking about the team that made the longest run in the college football playoff last year in ACC history happened to be a team that didn't even finish inside of the top two in the ACC. So it's not necessarily that, you have to be the best team is going to end up being the number one team by the end of the year. I think it ends up being that, those top three teams typically separate themselves from the rest of the league.
Well, they were tied. We'll get to that in a minute. Mark, same question to you. Is the gap bigger between Miami and 2 and 3 or 2 and 3 and 4?
I do think it's Miami, especially with what they added at quarterback, because I think Carson Beck was replacement level ultimately, for them, and Darren Mensah is positively, a positive. He is a playmaker, and when you add 4K with Malachi Tony, like this would probably be the best and most dangerous offense they've had. Fletcher at running back, like it's going to be a problem for just about everybody. And even while I think Louisville and SMU are right to be 2 and 3, and I'll listen to arguments for either one at 2 and 3, I don't know that you can make the case that they are like demonstrably on a different. If I told you that Louisville finished 4th or 5th, or SMU finished 4th or 5th at the end of the year, I wouldn't be. I don't think anybody would be stunned. I don't think I would be stunned. So if NC State, and there's always somebody that does this, by the way.
Yes.
There's always somebody that we should not have seen coming that finishes in 3 or 4 in the league. And so I don't think that they are far and away better than those, but they're at the best place, I think, so to be starting right now.
Cory, you mentioned that State because of the schedule, and if you look at the preseason ACC standings, and they never work out just this way, much like you could have said this about Indiana a couple of years ago, start at the bottom, work your way up. That's pretty much NC State's conference schedule. It is a very friendly conference schedule. They have 2 non-conference games that are losable. The game against App, although I think they'll win it, and the game at Vanderbilt, which is not going to be easy at all. Vanderbilt's very good. This is kind of set up for NC State, who's got C.J. Bailey, one of the best quarterbacks in the country. It's pretty much set up for them to have a good season. What do you think about the Wolfpack's chances?
Yeah, I think, if you look at the schedule, the big thing for NC State is they have a quarterback advantage in just about every single game. Obviously, Louisville could have a young quarterback step up. Vanderbilt could have a young quarterback step up. Inexperience is kind of the name of the game across NC State's schedule, except for JKS and Cal. I think that's the one where you're like, all right, they're on even playing fields, or, you have maybe JKS above them, above CJ Bailey in some people's minds. So that, I think, is where, if you're NC State, you've got to look at, like, all right, we've got to have that quarterback advantage in each and every single one of these games. CJ Bailey's got to be that guy, and the playmakers around him have to perform. I think when you're looking at the schedule, yes, you mentioned, the big thing in the non-conference is winning that game against Vandy on the road helps in a big way in terms of the overall, record by the end of the season. But really, the 2 ACC games that could kind of decide this thing for NC State happen to be the first and second games, which is in week 0 and week 4 of the season against Virginia and Louisville. So if you set the stage with a win in one of those 2 or 2 wins in those games, like, the rest of the ACC schedule is very manageable to be able to put yourself in that mix to try to be in Charlotte by the end of the season.
Oh, I don't think there's any question. Mark, do you pay, because we brought it up that Miami finished second. The tiebreaker, which was, honestly, I had no problem with the tiebreaker. last year. It was designed to give the team that played the most difficult schedule the benefit of the doubt, and it just so happened that it was Duke and not Miami. But I would have preferred had the ACC simply said, we're going to do what's best for us. We don't care what the numbers say. Whatever makes us look better, that's who we're putting in the championship game. Could that have flown? Would you have allowed that, Mark, because you are a smart guy? Would you have allowed that to go, yeah, I could deal with that?
I think that is that's a way of doing this that would make sense that no one would ever agree to. Because if you're Duke, and especially you think about it, the number of teams in the ACC who would want that, who would want the ability to be embarrassing, but damn it, we won by the numbers. And so Duke knows far more often they're going to make the ACC championship game just like that. And there's no way you would ever get, I think, the majority of the schools in the ACC to give up and I'm not even trying to be funny about it, but if we win by the sort of the traditional way, can't have another thing that's basically determined by the brands. I think there's enough of that in the ACC.
Well, there is, except that couldn't you argue that what's best for the ACC is also best for Duke? That the league in and of itself, the reputation is enhanced of the league, which makes everything that you do better. That the reputation is enhanced in the league if we always put our best. Nobody's going to argue that Duke was as good as Miami, right? That putting Miami in that position was better for the league, which should have also been better for Duke, even though Duke, as it turned out, is ACC champions. Couldn't you make that argument?
I think you could, but I think, again, everybody...
But Duke might not buy it.
Yeah, this is the biggest difference between the Big 12 and the ACC is I think everybody in the Big 12 wants to be there and is committed to everyone sort of making it. And that the ACC is like a confederacy of schools that are sort of loosely, connected, but not really interested in the overall health. It's just everyone, I think, sort of trying to profit individually as much as they can with it, because I don't think you've convinced a lot of people that there's a long-term viability here.
I'm not sure there's a long-term viability in all of college sports. Cory, the Protect College Sports Act, which will fail, it will never be voted on Capitol Hill, which, I mean, I've been saying this for I don't know how many years. Congress is never coming to the rescue of intercollegiate athletics. I was surprised to see the ACC as a whole support a bill which would tell North Carolina, Florida State, Clemson, Miami, and others that you've got to spend 5 years as an independent before you can join the SEC or the Big Ten. Were you surprised at how the ACC supported that?
A little bit, but at the same time, I feel like it kind of helps them in a way, right? I mean, if you were saying, all right, if Clemson or FSU, if you guys want to leave, that's fine, but you got to be an independent for 5 years before you can join a conference and start making more money elsewhere. So I feel like it kind of benefits the ACC in a way, and I think some other conferences are going to help back this. And I think it was Charlie Baker came out yesterday and said he wants for everybody, for Congress to basically back this and try to get it followed through. But I don't know that that's necessarily going to carry any weight here. But I think there's a lot of other things that go into this that the ACC is trying to get implemented. And some of it is just kind of saving the ACC's butt, for lack of a better term here, and trying to keep the conference afloat, because we know by 2030, that's when teams are kind of looking at, all right, this thing is going to plateau. Yeah. The buyout is going to plateau. That's about the point where things need to be settled. And, with them saying that no conference can go over 19 teams in the conference too, that kind of saves them a little bit too. So there's some things built in here that really help the ACC. I'm a little surprised by them fully backing it. Yeah. But hey, I don't know what's going on in the mind of Steve Phillips from time to time too.
Yeah,
So
I love Steve Phillips, former Mets general manager. I also doubted what was going through his mind.
Also former ACC, yes, former ACC media contact that I continue to screw up and instead of saying Jim Phillips. I say it every time.
I love Jim Phillips. I think he's got his heart's in the right place, but all the leagues, including the NCAA as a proper, have wasted so much money and time trying to lobby Congress to bail themselves out. In fact, Danny White, the AD at Tennessee, I read a quote from him today that's saying, we're doing all this, it's never going to happen, and none of it would protect us from an antitrust lawsuit anyway, so why are we doing this? And I'm like, yep, this is exactly true. Every attorney I've spoken with says the same thing. It won't stop lawsuits. Right now, we've got 22 more players who are trying to get eligible in basketball to play a fifth year, as opposed to, you've played 4, you're out, but the NCAA passed the 5-year and 5 eligibility years in 5 years overall. But they didn't grandfather in the current class when they should have. This could have, given Seth Trimble another year for those people who are Tar Heel fans. Final thing on all of this: expansion of the college football playoff. Will they make a decision, Mark? Or will they simply stay at 12 for another year? Will we get to December and we'll just blow past it and we'll be at 12 for another year? 12 hasn't been a bad number. I'd still go back to 4, but what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I don't think they will, because I don't think you can make the SEC move. And I don't think they want larger than 16. And we've ceded, majority power to the Big Ten and the SEC. And if they both don't want something, nothing will get done. And I think they are dug in on this. And even though everyone else seems to have rallied around 24, which I hate, I do not like that proposal at all. Until you can come up with a compelling reason for the SEC to support it, I think we're going to be stuck here until they have no choice but to move.
Cory?
Yeah, I definitely don't think it's going to change this upcoming season, just because of the fact that we're already so close. It's next to impossible to have done that. But I agree too, because I think when it comes to the SEC, if they want something done, or they don't want something done, it's probably going to stick that way. I think because partly the NCAA is absolutely terrified that they might actually, call their bluff and actually try to cede away from the rest of the conference. So it'll be interesting to watch how it all unfolds. But I don't know that necessarily 24 is the right number. It would certainly help, a team like NC State that's been on the cusp multiple times. And if it was actually at 12 teams multiple times, they would have been like right on the outside looking in, and have been at, finished number 18, number 20 in the past, and haven't quite been able to get to that mark. So it would certainly help NC State, but I don't think a lot of those programs that are traditionally there are going to back it. And those are your big brands and your big conferences.
We'll say goodbye here. Just I'll put a postscript on it. Again, I'm in favor of 4, not 12, not 16, not 24. But 24 might get us closest to having a normal college football. We have a top 25 for a reason. And essentially, if you finish in the top 25, you'd be in the playoff. It almost makes us normal again, although by 2030, I ain't sure what normal is going to look like. Mark Ennis, ESPN Louisville. That is Cory Smith from Pack Power. I love the truck, by the way, that you posted. It's a great looking truck.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. I've been with a Rollie today. I'm sorry.
That's awesome. Fellas, thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it.
Anytime.
You got it. Mark Ennis and Cory Smith here on the Adam Gold Show. A rewind next.
Because your fantasy football team needs all the help it can get, the Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
It's the first day of the first grade, and she found a new best friend. It's a laid-back Sunday afternoon you wish would never end.
The homemade taste of Bluebell and good friends gathered round.
good old days are being made right now.
Bluebell Chocolate Lava Cake is a mountainous eruption of flavor. Classic vanilla ice cream loaded with rich chocolate cake pieces, rivers of chocolate sundae sauce, chunks of dark chocolate, and a deep fudge swirl. Prepare yourself for an earth-shaking experience.
The good old days are being made right now. The good old days are being made right now.
Look for Bluebell ice cream at your local grocer and pick up your favorite flavor today.
Did you know? Atlantic hurricane season runs through November. From gathering necessary supplies to planning an evacuation route, now is the time to make sure you and your family are prepared. And if a storm damages our electric system, local public power providers are ready to respond and restore power quickly and safely. As a public power customer, you benefit from having an electricity provider that restores power faster than other providers do. Visit electricities.com for storm preparation tips and resources.
Your child's doctor shares your goals, a healthy future for your child. Doctors recommend vaccines throughout childhood because they protect what matters most: your child's future from preventable disease and serious illness. Discuss any questions you have and check that your child is up to date and talk about any concerns. You're right to have questions. Get real answers. Start a conversation with your doctor today. Visit vaccinesforkids.nc.gov. Paid for by NCDHHS.
Are you taking care of someone on Medicare? Navigating Medicare can be overwhelming. You're not alone. The NC Department of Insurance SHIP program can help you figure out what steps to take and when. SHIP counselors can answer your questions. Visit ncshiip.com or call toll-free at 855-408-1212. SHIP provides free, unbiased help in all 100 counties.
Project supported by grants from the Administration for Community Living. Contents do not necessarily represent official views of, nor an endorsement by ACL, HHS, or the U.S. government.
If you want the nation's best auto insurer, look no further than North Carolina Farm Bureau Insurance. Rated #1 in Crash Network's Insurer Report Card 7 years in a row, we're the only insurer in the nation to receive an A+ rating from auto body shops. Our philosophy is simple: be fair, be quick, be the best. North Carolina Farm Bureau Insurance. Helping you is what we do best.
We asked parents who adopted teens to share their journey.
There are many times I thought, I can't do this. I mean, what parent isn't worried about, what am I not doing right? What am I not doing enough? And then I realized, wait, that's being a parent.
Don't worry about being perfect. I've had around 3 other mother figures in my life, but only one of them has taught me how a mother loves.
The greatest reward for me is he makes me better every day.
I would tell a family considering adopting a teenager that teenager, whoever it is, needs you, and they need what you have to offer.
Taylor's given me hope. He's our son, and that is what he will always be.
Learn about adopting a teen from foster care. You can't imagine the reward. Visit adoptuskids.org to learn more. A message brought to you by Adopt US Kids, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, and the Ad Council.
This is Adam Gold.
I told Tim, who does the afternoon show, I said, I'm about to turn this game around. We need Cheez-Its. So I went to go get magical Lucky Cheez-Its, and guess what? Boom. Period 2, tied it up. And then at the end of the game, I still had like 8 Cheez-Its in the cup left, and I said, Lucky Cheez-Its.
There you go. The Adam Gold Show.
It's the Adam Gold Show. I am Adam Gold. Max Gorham producing the program. I know you, in our Place Your Bet segment, you went Rocket Mortgage, or at least you mentioned it. I believe the Wyndham is next week, right? It's the last event in the regular season of the PGA Tour. And at some point, I think next year is kind of status quo for the PGA Tour. But the following season is going to be basically there. I guess nothing has been completely finalized, but essentially 2 different tours. There's going to be the Major League and the Minor League. We'll just call it that. even though the players who will play on the second tour, we'll call it the championship. We'll call it the Premier League and the championship for those people who understand what I'm talking about. We don't know if Wyndham is going to be part of the championship yet. I'm pretty sure that we don't. We know a few that will, but we don't know exactly how many. There's going to be like 20, I think it's 23 events, which includes the 4 majors and the Players' Championship. So let's say 18 other events that are going to be in the big league, and we're not sure if Wyndham's going to be part of it. I hope it does, because Wyndham has Greensboro specifically has a place in the ecosystem of golf, historically a great spot for PGA Tour golf. The whole reason I brought it up was because next week I'm looking at the field, and short of having Rory and Scotty, they don't. It's about as good a field as you are going to see for a non-elevated event. I mean, it is loaded with great players. And I think a lot of players like the golf course, right? They play at Sedgefield, which is, one of those really good older, it's Donald Ross, which means, of course, it's older golf courses. It's not overly long. It's a fun golf course to play. It's more technical. But I just think they like coming to Greensboro.
Yeah.
I also think that the place on the schedule does not hurt Wyndham. It is the last chance to make it.
It helps
to the playoffs, right? It helps a lot.
I went I think it was 2 or 3 years ago. Justin Thomas was in the field because
he's in the field again.
He was like right below the cut line. I think he ended up finishing 71st and missing out. But
yeah,
some guys that are really maybe haven't had the best year, or guys that are maybe not the biggest names that are trying to make that final push to get in, like they need that event, and sometimes it can add a little bit more intrigue. I just remember I think it was the last time I went. I was posted up walking along the 14th hole, which is a par 5.
Yep.
And we watched Charlie Hoffman make an albatross on that hole. We started at the tee box as he was teeing off. We walked down the hill into the fairway to get a drink, and then saw him hit the iron shot. And it's kind of to an elevated green. You can't really see it, but you just saw everybody in the grandstand kind of stand up and then just start going crazy because he made it from, it was something 230 odd yards or whatever it was. But it's a great event. It's a fun course to walk around. The clubhouse is cool.
Yeah.
And it's a good event for Greensboro. So I know it's what was it, the city or whoever it was has offered something like $40 million to try to keep it there and try to keep it on the main schedule. So hopefully it does get to stay kind of on the championship circuit is what the top
I don't know what they're calling
the top
it.
level will be called.
I'm referring to it as the Premier League and the championship, because that is, if you're a fan of Ted Lasso, and by the way, when is August 5th?
That's Wednesday next week.
Is that the first Lasso? Or no, it's third. Or is it the third coming up on Sunday? Or
the third is Monday.
Third is Monday. Whenever. Next week is the first episode of season 4.
I didn't know they were making a new season of that.
What? Have you watched the first 3?
I watched the first 2. I heard the third one wasn't very good.
That was great. It was awesome. The third one was tremendous. I've rewatched the entire series. The all 3 seasons we rewatched over the last month. So worth it. I'm looking forward. I'm nervous about season 4 because you could argue that they should have ended it after season 3. But, money and all that. But it was so good. So I disagree with the people who said season 3 wasn't excellent. I think season 3 was tremendous. Season 1, of course, was just next level, hysterically funny. You know how it began? Do you know how the whole series began?
It was in an NBC Sports sketch or something.
It was a commercial. It was simply a commercial for NBC's coverage of the Premier League. That's all it was. They paid $100 some odd thousand bucks to Sudeikis, and he brought friends And they created this, just a commercial. It ended up being, there was a 4.5-minute video of Tottenham hires Ted Lasso, an American football coach, to be their manager, and ultimately gets fired in the whole commercial. And it's from there, and it was like another year or so later before it actually became they wrote a pilot. They had a whole bunch of ideas and turned that into Ted Lasso. I got to it well after the fact. By the time I watched the first episode of it, it had been off the air for a couple of years. And I watched all three seasons in about 8 days in the middle of July. Was it last year? Last year or the year before?
Now would be a good time for that. After the World Cup was over and then before everything else comes back. I'll just get the Hall of Fame game next week, though.
Really?
Yeah, I'm not that excited. I can pretend to be excited. At least the Panthers are in it, so you can pretend to care. If it was for
Panthers
anybody
uniforms.
else,
Well, look, I think what will be interesting is that we will see. You'll probably see a bunch of guys who are competing for spots at the bottom of the roster, right? And you might see Xavier Legette. You might see John Mechie catch passes from, I don't know, Haynes King. Right? Haynes King there, right? Haynes King is a quarterback for the Panthers?
He is.
Right? I kind of dig Haynes King. I'd
rather see him run than throw, though.
Yeah, but I think he's okay. If Taysom Hill could be an NFL player and occasionally play quarterback, Haynes King can. Because, yes, Haynes King will run, right? But I think Haynes King can throw enough. By the way, Taysom Hill essentially announced his retirement, or just that he's not with the Saints anymore. I'm like, it's going to sound haterish, but I've been annoyed by Taysom Hill more than I've enjoyed watching him play. And maybe it's just because he's the Saints. But my gosh, everything he does, like, oh my gosh, could you imagine this? Like, he's just not that good. That was more of a product of, honestly, brilliant coaching than anything else. And I do not like Sean Payton, but Sean Payton is a brilliant, brilliant football coach. All right, should we rewind? All right, Max is looking forward to the Hall of Fame game, although he did tell on himself that not really. We will not see Bryce Young play in it, I'm pretty sure. But I did ask Joe Person, who covers the Panthers for The Athletic, how Bryce has looked to him.
Really good. He has been on point, and this is while overseeing an offense that's missing its two starting offensive tackles from the last 4 seasons, and just had their rookie receiver Chris Brazzell go down with a season-ending knee injury. So, nevertheless, Wednesday's practice. Sorry, the days are running together. That was really that was sort of the capper on the first 7 or 8 days of camp, if you will, for Bryce. I mean, he'd had other good days, but Wednesday was really the cherry on top, and as much as it can be when we're talking about a practice in the end of July. But there are reasons to be excited. He hit Tetero and McMillan a couple times, but the play I really like seeing, and it happened to unfold right in front of me, was a just perfectly feathered touch pass along the sidelines to tight end Jatavion Sanders. And he did this despite Trayvon Merrick draped all over Sanders. So it just had to be in a perfect spot, and it was. And Bryce had a bunch of throws that day. So really encouraging beginning for Bryce as he goes into what begins to enter a very important season for him in a contract year, and for this franchise trying to build on the momentum that they captured last year, and in recapturing this city's and this region's the fan base and all of that went with it.
I am fascinated by what we're going to see with Bryce. I've known Scott Fowler for a long time columnist for the Charlotte Observer, author who's written so many books about the Panthers, Carolina, things like that. And he wrote, and I read this yesterday, as glowing a piece about Bryce Young as you could ever possibly imagine based on a practice. Like a practice. Said it was the best practice he has ever seen a Panthers quarterback have. They've had good quarterbacks here. Jake Delhomme was a good quarterback. Cam Newton was, a borderline Hall of Fame quarterback. I was blown away by that piece. But regardless of that, here's a guy in year 4 that has been through it. He's only known winning in his career. Whether it was as a high schooler, when he went to Modern Day in Southern California, he goes from there, he goes to Alabama. It's all winning. And he comes to the Panthers, dysfunction personified at the head coaching spot. The roster's terrible. Terrible. One of the worst rosters in the NFL. He's not equipped to handle that. They throw him in because, when you're the first player taken in the draft, you have to play. Those are the rules, as silly as that is. So it was a disaster year 1. The whole world wrote him off. Fans were like, nope, Houston got it right. They drafted the right guy in C.J. Stroud because C.J. had a very good year as a rookie. Year 2, it starts off in some ways worse than year 1. He's benched. It doesn't look like he's ever going to play again because if you remember the way Dave Canales talked about it, there was never a point where Canales said, Bryce just needs time to let this whole thing slow down. He'll be fine. We'll get back to him. He never, ever said it. Everything he said made it sound like Andy Dalton was the guy. And then Andy Dalton had a car wreck. Wasn't a major one, but it was enough to hurt his thumb. And Bryce had 3-4 games where he had to play. They weren't all great, but you could tell he was getting better. And all of a sudden, Canales is like, well, maybe we should just let this ride out. And by the end of the season, it looked like Bryce was legitimately turning the corner. Last year, still not great, but significantly better. And now what we need to see is Bryce Young, whose best moments in years 1, 2, and 3 were late in games. We need to see Bryce Young be that quarterback in the first half of games and have the Panthers play with the lead. You saw the stat, right? That of however, like over 1,000 plays run this last season, that the Panthers only had the lead in like 110 of them. Like 10% of the plays run where they had the lead. They finished 8-9. We need to see Bryce be good early. Max, we're going to do this again Monday, aren't we? Look at that. We'll see everybody Monday. Have a good weekend on the Adam Gold Show.
Still arguing whether hockey or golf has the tougher dress code?